feel like I'm above your energy. Can you see that I'm changing my design? Understand
I just realized my mic was completely muted.
Oh, so
and
people
people just heard you just talking completely out of context. I'm Francisco, everybody, and apparently I was patting myself on the back saying, oh, I learned how to produce a show and make it nice and efficient, and I'm the one who forgets to take my mic off mute, and nobody heard any of that. So the podcast, the radio entertainment gods were like, no, hold up, man, no on that. So
you basically just gave everybody their worst fear, which was me conducting a show solo.
If you were able to do that one day, that'd be an interesting show for sure. The Charles Hour.
I think Andrew would literally crap himself knowing that I'm going unfiltered, and it's
Charles
not that we're bad, but Andrew's not here. We're okay sometimes, but
yeah, but we kind of we feel a little more unleashed for sure. You know,
how do we stop the rants? That's what I want to know.
Oh no, there's no way to stop them at that point. That's basically like, how long do I want to keep on talking before I get tired and want to, I don't know, play some Diablo or whatever. I'm not sure. But, yeah, and apparently, was it Diablo 2 that they re-released and people are pissed off about that? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, because, all human beings love in this world is nostalgia, and they just can't let go. And you could dream about the good old days. There are certain things that you revisit in life. You revisit a movie. You could revisit a romance if you want. You could revisit a book. You don't revisit a game from 20 years ago. It does not hold up well, especially if you're trying to remake it from the ground up but still keep the 20-year-old mechanics.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem with a lot of games. Even when they remake games from like 5 years, 10 years ago, when they re-release that, and you realize, the controls were crap, and we got to change this. Shadow of Colossus, they released that like 5 times already.
One was fantastic, though.
Yeah, heck, I don't know. There's a lot of examples of that in video games, and also, when Andrew's not here, we get
Grand Theft Auto and their definitive edition.
Oh, we're gonna see that. Oh boy, yeah, we're gonna see how that looks.
Vice City.
Yeah, Vice. I would. Yeah, Vice City entices me to play that through. I've never played through a Grand Theft Auto game. I just usually mess around and dick around, and that's it. I've never actually tried to. I don't really realize that there's a storyline, but there is. I just mess around with the cheat codes and everything. But yeah, I'll see how the reviews go. I'm sure it looks like it's just a straight up, we copy and pasted the gameplay, and we just kind of made the graphics slightly less blocky. That's what it looks like.
It just you had text in this, and you're like, oh.
It looks like were you the one that said it looked like they were Muppets or something? I'm not sure.
No, but I still think that is appropriate.
Yeah.
Damn, Zacian just messed up my Arcanine. We are still going heavy on Shield right now.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't understand endgame content. This is what I hate about the modern day gaming. Unless hear me out. Unless you do like your whole thing is like a world RPG or something like that, MMORPG, when you get through the perfunctory storyline, everything else should just have a beginning, middle, and end. People hate me when I say that, but I'm beyond that.
It does. Sword and Shield doesn't really have a good one. Doesn't really have a good post game content thing, you know? I mean, and it
We're
was
doing now.
yeah, and it was like thrown on like they had the DLC, of course, and I bought the DLC, and it was not good. It wasn't good. I do have to say that it extended the gameplay a little more, but it felt just like they tacked on another area that kind of still felt empty and didn't feel like the Pokemon I thought it was going to be. But we'll see with Arceus. That one looks more promising. That one looks more interesting to me. Kind of like a Pokemon's mixed with Monster Hunter or something like that. I'm not sure. That's what that kind of looks like. But
And I can get behind a change in direction because it's not canon for canon's sake. So no one's gonna crap them pants. We're like, there's no red or blue in here. What's going on?
Yeah, well. And then, well, and you know what? This is an on-the-fly show. I just popped in and did this right now. So me and Charles are just going to go on the fly. I've been playing a lot of Forza lately. I got through Forza Horizon 2. I'm on Forza Horizon 1 now, going back in the series. November 9th, the new one comes out. And I'm probably going to try and stream that and try and co-op it with Doug as much as we could possibly do it. So that's what I'm excited for. See, motorsports, that's sports. That's sports right there. That's some sports talk. So
That's Forza.
yeah. So then they showed Halo Infinite's campaign finally.
Yeah.
So looks
Yeah.
looks interesting. I everybody loves a grappling hook. Everybody loves that. I love the grapple beam in Metroid and from Metroid Prime and stuff. That's always fun to do. You know, that's always fun to do along with doing podcasts like this. And if you want to do your own podcast, but not against us, you can get yourself a HyperX Quadcast S, Charles. Why don't you? Oh, you could get one of that for yourself. You want to sound a lot more clearer? It's got RGB lighting on there. Got 4 selectable polar patterns. Tap that in. HyperX. Get one of those. Okay. Now they're sponsoring us tonight. And yeah, World Series is set. That's what I got in the background with MLB Slugfest. The Atlanta Braves versus the Houston Astros. I guess we could talk about it a little bit, Charles. It seemed like the Dodgers just couldn't overcome, I guess, their injuries and really kind of...
Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the secret ingredient after all.
Yeah, well...
Terrible.
Could you imagine if they had brought him in just... Like when they found out Max Scherzer wasn't going to pitch, just like, you know what, Trevor? Just pop on in here. Play one game. And let's go. But yeah, there was... It just kind of... They went out with a thud, the Dodgers. It seemed like they probably kind of blew their load on the San Francisco Giants series. It seemed like that took a lot out of them. But... and I don't think they just didn't have, if those guys, if they had a few more guys healthy, they probably beat Atlanta. But you know, kudos on the Braves
pitching.
for
That's it. It was just the pitching.
yeah, and the Braves constructed a team on the fly to compete and go on this run. So what can I do? I'm a hater, yes, but I can acknowledge when they did something right, which somehow was come out of the National League East and actually represent us in the World Series in a sense, which I hope doesn't come to pass with them being a champion. I'm hoping the Astros do what they do and the chaos ensues.
Chase the win.
Oh, well, yeah, the chaos ensues and we'll have the saltiest of off seasons. That's what I'm hoping for. So game 1 tonight, 8 o'clock. So very, very soon. So that's baseball. That's what's going on. That's the only thing going on with baseball. So, yeah.
Sure.
What
Are
happened?
you saying that's the only thing going on baseball when there is a truth that you need to acknowledge here?
Which truth is that? Which truth is that?
The Cardinals hired a new manager.
Oh, I didn't even realize. I didn't even look. There was a much bigger news story that came out with the Chicago Blackhawks. I have no idea.
It's the ultimate bait and switch.
Yeah, I had no idea
To
the
me,
Cardinals
it is.
hired. Who they hire? Carlos Beltran.
Their bench manager.
Okay, all
Mama.
right, yeah, that's.
I still, and I asked a couple of my other friends because my buddy is a Braves fan, so obviously he's like, "Hey, I want you to kind of like, be a Braves fan." I'm like, "Sure, I'm all for my chaos and for loyalists." But I still don't understand the long question of what the hell does philosophical differences in baseball means? And I realized something. You're never going to get it. I'm going to get it one time. When you die, you go to the afterlife, and before I'm sent to hell, you get one question every 1,000 years, and mine's going to be, hey, what the hell does philosophical differences mean, aside from spending? That's the only thing I could think of.
I don't even know what... Yeah.
I don't even know. We don't know. That's the greatest mystery out there. Not how we were made, or really aliens coming into it. Does pineapple go on pizza? Did Rachel really love Ross from Friends? I don't believe Rachel really did love Ross. But for me, it's going to be, what the hell is philosophical differences in baseball? But that's it for baseball, man, until they get out the yearly awards. And winter season will be interesting, at least because I'm from a spending team and you're from a spending team.
Spending team. Well, the Marlins are supposedly going to spend. Carlos Correa is a free agent after this World Series. I think they want to try and see if they can pry Wilson Contreras from the Cubs, because that could be a thing. But yeah, I have to see it to believe it. Now the Marlins, Loria did spend but he was just dumb with his money. He was cheap and dumb with his money at the same time. So everything was backloaded. It was all kinds of crap. This regime, our Lord and Savior Derek Jeter's regime, has yet to show the dollar, that they have the financial power to get some people. But we'll just wait and see. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. And a lot of Marlins fans are really... All right, Charles. Well, I guess we can get into this because why not? Let's get into this now. So the Chicago Blackhawks.
Ooh, I was reading that before we jumped on. Ooh.
Yeah. It's bad. It's really bad. It's not good. This is really, really bad. I didn't realize that this was going on in the background, but now that it's come to light, it is bad. So let's because this is around the time when I was starting to get interested into hockey, so I wasn't really paying attention too much when the Blackhawks won their first Stanley Cup championship, or at least in that time period of players won in 2010. But apparently, from this report that was released, the Chicago Blackhawks had been trying to sweep under the rug a sexual assault allegations from one of their players on it was a trainer, right? A team trainer, the head trainer or whatever, or team doctor, something like that. And he was sexually assaulted by this guy, and he did, along with I think another player, and I believe there was even an intern, and maybe even somebody in high school,
I think it was 2 players and a minor leaguer, and then after he was relieved of his duties, he was charged with a 4th-degree misdemeanor of sexual battery on a high schooler, and now he's on the Michigan sexual registry.
That's the other part.
I went hardcore. You know me. I'm like, anytime public officials sexual relations.
That's your profession. That's what I have to say. But
well, let's rephrase it. I'm not obsessive about this. It's just I'm always waiting to see what the spin is because it's kind of shady that this comes out 10, 11 years later.
Yeah, 11 years
now
later.
Chicago's like, we didn't know.
Oh, but the Chicago Blackhawks. All right, so there was at the time this happened around. They said a May 8th or so in 2010. Now, around NHL regular seasons end around April, and then Stanley Cup playoffs happen, and they go all the way through around the first week of June, right? And then the Stanley Cup final, boom. So the Chicago Blackhawks were on this run. It had been at that point almost 40 years since they last won a Stanley Cup championship. It had been like a decade since they were actually relevant in the NHL, and they had built up this team, and the season prior they went to the Western Conference Final. It looked like they were knocking on the door, and 2010 was the season that things were about to happen. But then this happens with this guy. I think his last name is Aldridge, right? So yes. Brad Aldridge, there we go. So the Chicago Blackhawks get word of this, and they do an internal team meeting between the higher ups in this organization. So you got John McDonough, who was the president of the team at the time, used to be president of the Chicago Cubs. You have Stan Bowman, who was the general manager. You have Joel Quenneville, who was the head coach.
Who's currently your head coach, right?
And we'll get to that.
Okay, I'm correct. I know things.
We got Jay Blunk. And we have Kevin Shavodayev, who is the assistant GM, and he's currently the GM of the Winnipeg Jets. So they were all present in this meeting when they were trying to figure out what the heck they were going to do. And at this meeting, they decided that they were going to sweep it under the rug because the Blackhawks were on a run. Joel Quenneville, unfortunately, from what has been reported, allegations, as we all know, it's all alleged, was upset, but it didn't seem like he was upset of the horrendous thing that was happening, more that he was upset that it was going to affect team chemistry, the timing of it all. It's like, like of all the times that a player got sexually assaulted, it happened during this run where we could win the Stanley Cup. Okay.
That sounds like a terrible Groucho Marx or SNL match. Stuff. Like, of all the times.
So all this happens, and they all decide to just kind of, we'll deal with it later, right? And there was a lot of pressure on the line. The Blackhawks had been, once I said, I'd said they were relevant. This is the first time in a long time that they actually looked like championship contenders since they made the finals in '92 before that. And it was a delicate situation. And I'm sure those guys didn't know what the heck they were doing. I'm sure, and I don't know if this had come up before for anybody else, but it seemed like a unique situation. Well, now this comes out 11 years later. 139 witnesses were interviewed, and it has come to light, and the Chicago Blackhawks general manager Stan Bowman, who's same general manager, resigns, and he's also currently the general manager of the U.S. Olympic hockey team, and most likely he will not be in that position for that either, with the Olympics about to come up. And the Blackhawks try to reach a settlement with the former player that brought this, and the Michigan high school player that was hanging about the team facilities around that time. The CEO of the team, Danny Wirtz, it was disturbing and difficult to read, all of these things. And he has said that there will be nobody in the organization who was part of this anymore. So he's going to clean house with anybody that an executive or somebody with any sort of management power. So most of them at this point, 11 years later, are gone. But the Blackhawks try to deny this and dismiss this. And some former players now that have since retired or are no longer with the team, Nick Boynton, Brent Sopel, they say that the players knew in that locker room. The players knew that this had occurred. They knew that one of their teammates, and they know who the teammate was, got sexually assaulted. Now, Sports Goofs is normally a family-friendly show, but sometimes we gotta deal with these situations right here, and everybody's talking about this, and I'm sure ESPN won't give it its due, so we gotta do it, regardless if they have the NHL stuff now. One of the sadder things that has come to light is this, that during that span, players made light of it. They made fun of this player or this happening to him. Oh, you got all touched and whatever. He followed you. Like they tried to do that, and yet, but for that guy to feel that, I'm sorry, emasculated, all types of feelings, and the team knew. And now trying to reach a settlement, trying to see, and we'll see if this player
Well,
who's
they were
still
fined $2 million. I think they're going.
they were fined $2 million right now by the National Hockey League, which from if the hockey guy who's fantastic hockey YouTuber must follow if you want to know anything and everything about the NHL. He had also referenced other teams and fines that they had received for lighter things considering the circumstances. With Ilya Kovalchuk and some issues with contracts, the New Jersey Devils were fined like $5 million. It was a contract issue. It wasn't even like anything like this. The Phoenix or the Arizona Coyotes with tampering with draft picks, they lost draft picks for that. And I think they were fined something, and now you have, as of right now, so GM Stan Bowman is gone for the Blackhawks, and they're cleaning house of anybody that's left who was in that position. But we have two guys out there that were in this room that currently have NHL jobs. We have Shavadev, GM of the Winnipeg Jets. I don't know what Winnipeg's going to do. I don't know how they're going to handle the situation. The Jets have been well constructed lately with their teams. They made the Western Conference Final about 3 seasons ago. They're still very much a team that can contend for a playoff spot.
Andrew says Bowman just resigned as U.S. Hockey GM. Andrew, don't be shy.
So that just happened. Okay.
Come give us some lovin'.
And we have Joe Quenneville. Now we're coming to here. The Florida Panthers are the best team in hockey right now. They are undefeated. They have Joe Quenneville is the second winningest coach in NHL history. He is number 2. He is, by all accounts, a Hall of Famer once he decides to retire. I don't know how the NHL or the Hockey Hall of Fame handles those things with that sort of with scandalous things. I'm not sure.
I think the tough part is sometimes when we are in a
based on
protection,
I don't know how the voting will go. I don't know if it's based solely on the merit and that's it. In which case, Joel Quenneville gets in easily. Because we've had players who've been kind of sleazy and stuff off the ice.
O.J. Simpson.
Like that, you know? Yeah. I mean, but O.J. already made the Hall of Fame by that point.
That's true. I always forget that. I'm thinking that they won't revoke it post facto.
So I'm not sure what happens. And the Florida Panthers, I'm not sure what they do. I feel like the Panthers aren't going to do anything. I feel like that's what's going to happen. I feel like if anything, right now Joe Quenneville and Shavadev are. I think they had a conversation. I don't know if it's happened yet with Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the NHL, and maybe there might be a suspension. That could be how they feel like is the proper way to go. But I don't.
But spending was accomplished, really.
I mean, I don't know what it accomplishes. I think they but I don't know if the NHL has the power to have a person fired from the league. I'm not sure how that works, to be honest.
I mean, you don't think you could blacklist somebody or get them out?
I'm not sure how it works in the NHL. That's the thing. I'm not sure if that's within the thing, if that's a thing that the Board of Governors have to come together and talk about. And I'm assuming that's what's happening right now behind the scenes. The Board of Governors, which are the governors in the NHL, are basically the owners of the team. So they are most likely talking right now as to what they are going to do about this, especially with Vinny Viola, who is the owner of the Florida Panthers, the majority owner. Gosh, I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. I don't.
But as a fan, how would you feel if they kept him? Because now you have to kind of look into what accountability looks like, and it's a situation of, are you the ultimate decision maker? Because it's a culture thing, top down, bottom up, and sexual assault. And I think sometimes what happens in that era 12 years ago, even now in present day,
I just find it kind of
male sexual assault.
I don't know who the player was, and I don't know.
They say it was a minor leaguer who got called up for the Stanley Cup final. That's as much information that they revealed. But the rest of it was a John Doe situation.
And that kind of, I don't know, there's a lot of looking now at other players and other people. Now you have to look at who like, it kind of gives you a sort of a feeling of, man, you let this happen, or you didn't show any sort of support or something like that, you know? Because I could see, I could understand if it, it's a delicate situation. They're in this Stanley Cup run, and having a distraction like that could affect them, and they don't win if that doesn't happen. But
it's not even like it's a coach or a player; it's just a GM. And at that point, I would think that they're as hands off as it should be. That's where they really drop the ball.
Yeah,
it's not as if it's somebody who is. It's not your star player. This is not a Deshaun Watson situation. If you want to compare apples to apples.
Yeah.
Or even a Trevor Bauer situation.
So I'm assuming the Panthers are going to, and I'm sure the NHL is talking with them and figuring out what the Blackhawks, how, I think it just depends on how let's see, extensive Joel Quenneville's involvement was. If it was just like he was the last guy to know type of thing, and it was all just dropped on him when it suddenly happened, and he just didn't know what to do. I mean, I'm sure that's what happened, but and what he said in this room, what it alleged to have said, I don't know if it can be proven or not, and maybe the Panthers just be going on that. We don't know if he actually said that or not. We have witnesses, but how can we really know? I don't know. And it kind of makes you look back at that Blackhawks team and the players. There are a couple players still left from that team. Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. Jonathan Toews was the captain by that point. And there was some ribbing going on with making fun. Like, it's just like, wow, you guys were kind of dicks to your own teammate like that. You know? It's a very delicate situation. This isn't the end. This is just the beginning. We don't know how far this is going to go. We don't know. And at some point, this player could come out when he's ready and talk about this. And then we will surely know what went on. And I'm not sure I don't know who the player is. If it's like, just a guy who was in the minor league, whatever. But and it tarnishes that group of the Chicago Blackhawks from 2000 and even like say 2008 or so to 2015 when that team was just dominant. It's all pretty sad. This is bad. And this just dropped. It just dropped. I didn't even know this was going on. I didn't know that an investigation was going on. But apparently the reporter that for TSN up in Canada that was not letting go of this story because he had caught wind of it and was trying to get more information from this. And yeah, he received, verbal and Twitter harassments and I'm sure threats and things like that from people who are fans of the Chicago Blackhawks and things. He never let up. So, and now this pops out. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I could keep rambling on about this, but and this is all new, and we'll find out if more comes of this.
I'm sure more will come of this.
Yeah, it's weird, right? This is a weird cross section of real life and sports, because not a lot of people talk about this type of stuff. Now, remember, what was it? Was it Michigan State or University of Michigan with that creepy doctor?
Larry Nassar.
Yeah, there we go.
State.
Yeah, where you have medical professionals who are fucking perverts. Fucking
and
perverts.
Also, no one actually listens to victims because they go pish posh.
Yeah, we've had this. I mean, even the freaking the Sandusky horrendous thing that happened at Penn State. Like
Baylor too.
Baylor was another one.
But you're saying there's a male sports cultural exceptionalism when it comes to sexual assault victims. Let me get my popcorn. I'm gonna hear this out.
And it's kind of. This comes to life. I mean, remember, these Blackhawks, they were making fun of this guy in the locker room. The whole machismo type of thing. When this stuff can happen to men, it has happened to men, and this isn't the first. I'm sure it's happened for decades now. Because you're a team doctor, and some team doctors might be fucking perverts and fucking sick individuals, you know. So now you gotta think about that, and who are your team? Who are your medical staff? Who are your training staff? I mean, what's going on with those people? Because
the problem is that background checks are one thing, but if it's something that there's ever going to be reports accountability for, you're not going to know. And then the other concerning part of everything is the fact that there's too much of we'll just let it slide culture. I don't call it that boys will be boys culture because it's a derivative statement, but it's more or less of a, we obviously don't value this as an offense. Society does, we don't, and since we're an internal private business, we're going to. We're going to do what we want, how we want, when we want.
And think about it from the player's perspective of sports. Just think of it, like I said, the machismo thing, though. You got to tough it out, that type of thing, and you're in a locker room full of men, and we're all men, and that type of mentality. When, I mean, you hear it on sports radio, and freaking, as a joke, I think Hawk and Crowder is making fun of Crowder for being a vegan. That's episode, you're eating meat and stuff like that, and it's like, it's funny at some point, but it's also based on toxic masculinity, and that happens across sports and everything, and toxic masculinity can at some point get dangerous to a point where this happens, and you put everything above anything else, and the cult, the culture of this is awful. Because I always thought there are athletes out there, when they step out of that norm, and I actually appreciate that from them, I always think of just the dude bros. I just think of athletes to be. I feel like there's more to them. They can be more vulnerable. Yeah, you can fucking like kawaii shoujo anime if you feel like it, dude, and be proud of it. I'm rambling once more. I'm rambling on. This is going. I have no idea where this train is going at this point, but it's I don't know. There's a lot of things.
Bringing it back to it, because I'll give you my prediction. I don't think any hammers fall with anybody who is at the round table, because ultimately
that's what I feel.
It's like, how do you complain about your boss doing things that you don't know? And that's the problem. It's not a just following orders argument, but it's more or less like, well, maybe you have to tip it to a higher up that's part of the administration purposes. We're just in the field of things.
Yeah. Well, that's
how you relax with it.
That's what I was saying. I don't think the Panthers are going to fire Joe Quenneville. I really don't.
No.
I think the most they would do is like a token suspension, like a team, issued suspension. He's gone for 5 games or something like that. Something that's inconsequential or something. Or maybe the NHL fines him or does a suspension of their own. I'm not sure. I don't think the Winnipeg Jets are going to get rid of their GM. I don't think so. I think they're all just going to let Stan Bowman take the fall, and we'll just go from there. But I feel like if this player feels like coming out, that will change perceptions for a lot of people about a lot of guys from that 2010 Stanley Cup Championship Blackhawks team. And that's going to be real sad, especially if it's some beloved players, you know? Especially if it's some beloved players. Yeah, because for a time, they were like Chicago's only hope at that point. You know, the Bears sucked, the Bulls and Derrick Rose, stuff happened. The Cubs and the White Sox were rebuilt at that point. It was the Blackhawks and had been years. The team was irrelevant. They had the worst. Their big market worst attendance for like behind Arizona and some of these southern teams. Like they were off. The Blackhawks were bad, were really bad. There's a fantastic videos across YouTube of how awful the situation was in Chicago with the Blackhawks and the city and everything. And they were turning it around. It's like they got new GMs, drafting the right players, new team president, the shitty owner died. Like, everything was going great. And it seemed like it was going so great that they this happened, and they were like, we can't afford to let this get out, because all this good shit's happening for us for once, and for the first time in years, and now this, it's all good. It's gonna ruin it. We're going down. Like they really felt like they couldn't let it get it. Like they were desperate. They were desperate. You know. Yeah. Okay. Man,
is this bad for hockey? I'll leave that on the one question.
I don't think it's a hockey. I think it's more of it's more about the Chicago Blackhawks more than anything else. I think it's more about them. I don't think this has any sort of onus on the NHL or the league in general, because it was just an isolated team, unless some worse shit happened someplace else. But this was more a Chicago Blackhawks bad thing, and yeah. I don't think it's not on the level or the scale that we're seeing with the NFL,
like the John Gruden effect
with the Washington football team and all the emails and things we're gonna find out from that soon enough. I think this is more of a Chicago Blackhawks only type of thing. I mean, it's such a personal thing with the person that was affected and things. It's not a league-wide type of scandal, type of issue like that. And it's a different type of issue. Of course, Washington had their shit with the cheerleaders and stuff like that, so you know they have, it's one of their issues. But yeah. So, all right, this transition is brought to you by House of Ashes. Namco developed that game. I think it's like the fourth in that series.
It's the third. Well, yeah, it's the
fourth.
third
I thought it was the
of
fourth.
that anthology series.
Yeah, the anthology, yeah. So, there you go. Fuck, where do we go from here? That's a bummer.
Well, I have a score update in the World Series.
Yeah, the Braves are up.
No. On literally the second pitch of the game, I didn't catch who the batter was, but he hit a dinger to that short porch and left.
The Crawford boxes, yeah. Okay.
And
all right.
Freddie Freeman almost got a quasi infield signal. I thought he might have been safe there. It was he hit into the shift. Altuve was out in deep left. Deep right. Due to the shift, he barely got him out.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Where are we? Man, we are at. Crap, that took me 41 minutes to talk about. Wow. All right. Well, let's transition to. I guess we can talk about. I mean, a little NBA, right, Charles? There's a little bit, not much, right? I mean, it's the first week of the season that just went by. You know, our beloved Miami Heat won last night against Andrew's not really beloved in spirit. Orlando Magic. Acknowledged Orlando. Like, they're there. He understands that they're there. You know? I think that's Charles's, or not Charles's, but Andrew's feelings about the Magic. It's like, yeah, they're there. You know? But they're 1-3. And the Chicago Bulls are starting off pretty hot. 4-0 right now. You know?
Yeah, I guess it's better to be 4-0 than 0-4, right?
Yeah, well, maybe the rebuild has finally taken to the Bulls right there. Maybe it's finally settled in. And
Well, it's not like Billy Donovan's an incompetent coach either.
No, he's not. Right? So the Golden State Warriors are still undefeated. They're 3-0.
See above statement in regards to Steve Kerr.
Yeah, and we'll see with the Utah Jazz. They're 2-0. There's that. And our Heat are 2-1. Right?
Yeah. The Jimmy Stimmy over there.
Oh.
He's stimulating our senses.
He stimulates many things for me. That's for sure. So that's the thing with Jimmy. The Lakers are just what Hollywood wants, right? That's just what the media wants, you know. All that's going down. But I don't want to spend, because everybody else is talking about the Lakers. I don't want to talk about that. This isn't. We're not Stephen A. Smith just harping on one thing.
Free tacos, gentlemen. We have a
Someone stole a base already? That was fast. Okay.
Gentlemen, free tacos. Aussie Albies.
On a Tuesday, everybody. On a Tuesday. So, Aussie Albies, and fuck you for being on the Braves, but thank you for the tacos. All right. Okay.
And he stole it on a lefty, which, I'll be honest, I am thoroughly impressed whenever anyone is able to steal on a lefty. Because they're able to do that, shifty pickoff move.
And I guess I can do we'll go to the NHL right now. I already talked about the Panthers being undefeated. That's great. The Buffalo Sabres are starting off well. They're 4-1-1. I don't know how long that's going to last, but it's happening. But the Sabres have done this before, where they've started off hot in the first couple weeks and then became the Sabres again. So there's that. The Detroit Red Wings started off okay, all right. The Boston Bruins 3-1. That seems about right. I think they'll get one of the playoff spots. The Leafs are starting off 2-4-1, and Leafs fans are angry. Someone has already thrown their jersey on the ice after a loss. It's pretty early. First couple weeks of the season, and they're already doing this. So I don't know how much. I get the Leafs are like a super pressure organization being in Toronto, but really that quickly, it's only the first 7 games of the season, people. It's only they've got 5 points. They're not like Montreal. Montreal's won 5-0. They finally won a game, but they've started off completely cold. All right, and Carolina's undefeated. They're starting off great. All right, and got the Washington Capitals are still there. They're still doing their thing. Edmonton still doing their thing, undefeated as well. And St. Louis has started off pretty darn good. Without the Blues would break up the band after a bit. Thought Tarasenko would be gone by now, but apparently they found a way to keep everybody happy enough to stick around, and they're starting off the season pretty all right. Pretty all right from there. Yeah, Connor McDavid leading everybody in points, 13 points already. Alex Ovechkin with 12. Leon Draisaitl with 11. At least the Oilers are supporting their superstars there. Ovechkin's got 7 goals, leading the NHL. Still doing it, still somehow leading the league in goal scoring right now. Trying to chip away, trying to get closer and closer to Gretzky. We'll see if that happens in the next couple years. And yeah, it's going well. It's going well for a few teams to start off, but there's not, aside, the Blackhawks story is just the thing right now. That's it. We understand this. We understand this when sports start like that. So that's hockey. That's what's going on right now. That's what's going down.
Jorge Soler just hit the first leadoff home run in top of the first inning of Game 1 in World Series history.
Huh. Interesting.
Which, I mean, let's be honest. That is such a minuscule stat that I'm not surprised that this is the first.
Yeah, that's about.
Because it can literally happen only once a World Series.
Let's see. Hold on. Oh, let's get a small segment out of the way. Let's do. I've been sitting on this one for quite a while, and we didn't even really. I mean, we didn't really talk about it much, but it's good to let's get something a little more lighthearted. Gosh darn it, where is that freaking graphic? It's been a while since I've. Players remember, forget. There we go. So there's a lot of players out there, and we try and remember who they are and what they did and how they lived their lives and see what they're doing today. You know, and maybe they didn't have remarkable careers, but we still want to remember them. But sometimes some players have interesting post-career choices. You know, like this one. I got Jay Richardson, everybody. So if you guys don't know, Jay Richardson, former defensive end in the NFL, played at Ohio State, played briefly, was drafted by the Oakland Raiders back in 2007, the 5th round, 138th overall, and played for Oakland and Seattle and New Orleans. 59 games, 7 sacks, 86 tackles. Not the most remarkable of careers, you know. He goes off, he retires, becomes a sports anchor over at some local TV station out in Columbus, Ohio. But you know, one day he gets a bright idea along with some other dudes. Like, you know what, guys? I feel like we should start a school, and a high school, a charter school. We'll have a fantastic football team. You know, the greatest team of all time. So he does that, and when at the same time it seems like, yeah, you know, this is also a profitable venture, and you know why don't we take some stuff off the top there, and then, well, it fails. They're trying to associate ourselves with the church. It's nice and religious. Church is like, no, not for us, and it fails. It's like, you know what, guys, I'm gonna run it back, and I feel like doing this again. You know, I have a great name for this team, too. Something that sounds like it's a religious organization, but it's not. Name it after a tree. Bishop Sycamore. That's what I'll name it. Yeah, and we'll have like a helmet logo. It'll look like the Raiders in Vegas. Golden Knights had a baby. You know, the same color scheme. I played for the Raiders. Let's do the same color scheme. It's black and white. Cheapest colors we can probably get as well for uniforms. Let's do it. Let's do that. All right. So they create this team called Bishop Sycamore. Jay Richardson, this guy. And he's like,
And let's be honest, Crusaders is probably the most Christian name you can come up with.
Right. So Bishop Sycamore, Crusaders, and he's like, well, we're a charter school, we're a private charter school. Let's face off against those other private charter schools, right? Not those crappy ones. All right, we need to make a name for ourselves. We're gonna face some of the best ones, like, I don't know, that team out in Bradenton. Was it the IMG Academy?
IMG Academy.
Yeah, let's play them. Let's play those guys. I'm sure we can keep it close. And let's go around the country. Let's take this on tour, everybody. Let's take this on tour. We'll get some. We'll cash some checks. You know, head on down to the Amscot and make some money. And they kept the charade going, and then one day they were like, you know what, guys, this is going so well, nobody knows what's going down. All right, these kids actually think they're gonna make something of themselves. You know what? I bet you we could pull in a bunch of kids into our program, charge them. They'll think we're legit. Maybe if we can get on national TV. Well, how is this gonna happen? Oh, I don't know, man. Let's go on ESPN. They got high school football for some stupid reason. I don't know who wants to watch it, but you know what? We can get on there. They're broadcasting it, right, instead of the NHL. Okay, fine. All right. Well, we got to play a team that makes us look legit too. All right, let's go against IMG Academy. All right, they whooped their asses last time, but I have a good feeling this is all gonna work out. Yeah, but we got a game like 3 days before that, dude. Yeah, they're kids. They can recover quickly. It's not like the NFL, right? Let's go. Let's do it. But we doing it like, okay, fine, let's go. Our uniforms aren't even clean. We never clean them, dude. Let's just go. And so they go, and they're on national TV against IMG Academy, Bishop Sycamore. And you know where they play this game, guys? The Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's where they play the game. They gave ESPN a what looked like a ransom note, but was actually just the roster of the players, and it went as great as anyone could have imagined. What was the score? Was it 59-0? Was it something like that?
It was a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot. They didn't score a single damn point.
You know what did score? The memes.
Oh, the memes came out for sure. The head coach, I think he had an arrest warrant out for him. So, and he was promptly fired afterwards because I don't know, they felt like they needed to save face. Jay Richardson, when they started knocking, people started wondering what the hell is with this team. How did this even happen? How could such a crappy high school team even get on here? And so they started poking around. People started poking around trying to figure out how this could happen. You know, and they weren't even part of Ohio's state high school football organization. They were what? State of Texas, right? Well, yet they were in Columbus, Ohio. So I don't know how that works, but apparently they found a way. And it was also found out a lot of the players, they didn't even have a physical school. Every time people try to Google map the address, it kept changing. It was like somebody's house at one point. And it was found out a lot of the players weren't like even high school aged anymore. They were all in junior college, and who knows, maybe some of them might have been older. Who can really say right now? No proper medical staff, no proper anything. And yeah, so I don't know what's gonna happen with this Bishop Sycamore thing, but it was hilarious. It was funny. I love it. I had it here to highlight Jay Richardson because we can't let it forget. And who knows? Maybe at some point something will come of this in the future. Maybe there's got to be somebody working on that 30 for 30 or a Netflix documentary or something. Maybe it's a whole thing that's across the country where there's all these scandalous football high school charter teams that are siphoning money from kids and parents and ruining some lives. So you guys did make a name for yourself. Jay Richardson, you did it, dude. You did it. So congratulations, and sure as hell we remember you now. That's for sure. Yeah. So I think that crosses us close to the threshold for our halfway point. So let's go, guys. Let's do it. We're gonna the word from our non-sponsors, people, places, things, concepts, what have you, that we have been enjoying over the last week. I went first last time. Who wants to go first this week?
I guess I'll go.
Alrighty.
I know I believe I've said Costco in the past, but I don't believe I've done it for this reason. And if I have, then I will think of something else. Have you guys ever been to Costco?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Get them giant ass pizzas.
Not just the
Get
giant
some of that
ass pizza.
froyo. Get that froyo.
Froyo's good too. Do you know what else is good?
Get them hot dogs.
That $1.50 hot dog combo.
Get them dogs. Hell yeah.
That $1.50 hot dog combo that's a good way to fuel up. So let's see. So $1.50 times 7% for tax. That would be, I don't know. I don't math. Whatever. It's cheap. Less than $2.
You were struggling for sure, but I was honestly like, I can't even try either. But yes, that food that just go. Oh, it's worth the wait in line for sure. It is definitely worth the wait. You know, tell your other family members, you know, guys, go around, whatever. I'll get the food. I'll wait here. You know, I'll wait out in front.
I mean, it was a lot more. It was a lot more fun before COVID, the virus.
Yeah, we can
Same
say
with
whatever we want. COVID, YouTube doesn't care anymore.
It's a lot more fun before COVID because you could wear your mask, eat inside, not have to worry about it. It's a bit more. You have to be a bit more mindful now. In fact, I never eat inside anymore. I take it out, but which is unfortunate because then you can't put condiments on it. It's weird to have to take that thing out in that paper bag with a bunch of sloshy condiments on it. It gets all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, when you get your condiments, you want to eat it right then, right there. For anyone that doesn't know this combo, first off, you should. Two, at least they used to. You could go in without a membership to get it, but I think they've changed it since then. But it is a 1/4 pound hot dog. And it's a good hot dog. It's not some piece of shit hot dog like they serve at Marlins Park. And a 20-ounce drink of choice from a soda fountain. And Costco uses Pepsi products. So you've got Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Mountain Dew, all that jazz. It's good shit. And they have onions as a condiment, which is very rare. And it's actually quite good. I recommend it. If you like onions, it adds a nice little bit of crunch. You don't really taste the onioniness.
You're not convincing me on that one, Andrew. All right. I like putting all kinds of weird. Onions are my no-no. So they much like olives are for you. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Costco hot dogs. Promo code 1/4 pound hot dog.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know. That's it's always so good, man. It's always so good, and the pizzas, you know, just the sheer size of it, you know.
I can debate on the pizza thing because I would argue that Sam's has better pizza.
I don't think I've ever had their pizza. Interesting.
I mean, the Sam's near me has gone to shit recently. So I don't know if it's a location thing or if it's a brand thing. But either way, generally they are much better. The other thing that Sam's has, which I told you a few years ago, I was going to get you to have one of these, and I still haven't had that happen. Was it
that drink? You see, it was like a drink,
ice
right?
cream float.
There we go. Float. That's what it was. Yeah, that's
root beer float.
Wait. You never had a root beer float?
No, I'm Hispanic.
And
all right, I won't watch The Sandlot, and I've never had a root beer float. So yeah.
Why is it like every time? Every time the grand reveal, it's not me or Andrew. It's not me. First it starts with, I know your dirty secret. Oh, you take ketchup like a weird person and make it messed up. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I've never seen a salad. Okay, and now you've never had a root beer float? It's like every time.
It's funny,
Andrew,
you've had this reaction because you didn't have the reaction last time Andrew talked about this, but
I probably wasn't paying attention on the root beer float thing. It was on Costco because I'm like, oh yeah, pizza, nachos. I get that. I've been there, whatever. But I understand. You can't tell me it's a cultural thing too. I think to mix things is to be human. Ice cream, soda.
I've never been into root beer, so I wouldn't want to be into root beer float. That's my thing.
One day, aside from the fast food draft, we're gonna have the soft drink draft. I promise.
Oh gosh,
Andrew, I'm sorry to steal your moment.
No. I'm glad that I'm not that you agree with me here, and that we.
How much have I missed out on, really?
They have one of those things.
It's like a rabbit hole. I'm sure if you guys got me down Clockwork Orange style, you'd just be feeding me and just showing me all kinds of stuff.
So you know those, what are they called, pub crawls?
So yeah, that's a reference
Yeah.
I knew. Clockwork Orange. There you go. Yeah.
We need to do a food crawl where we just spend one day. All right, Andrew, what's name a food you haven't had that the other two have had? Okay.
Ooh.
You've
This
never
sounds
had-
like. Okay.
You've never had tres leches? Okay, let's go get some tres
Okay.
leches.
So
Francisco, you've never had root beer float? All right, let's get a root beer float.
this sounds like on another podcast I listened to, Extra Napkins. It's a food-based podcast. They had this thing called the Baked Goods Bro Down. So they decided, because there were the restrictions and going down, whatever, and they live out in California, around San Diego. And so they decided, you know what, let's go to, with a few of their other friends from like LA. They converged upon Anaheim because it was like the most central location for all of them. And they decided to go to a Angels game. So they go to this Angels game, but the caveat was that they needed to bring a baked good from a local place to share amongst the bros. And thus, they would have the baked goods bro down. It wasn't a contest, it was just a baked goods bro down. Just bros just bringing baked goods, pies and all kinds of stuff to share amongst each other in the parking lot before heading into the Angels game. So it sounds semi-similar to that. And I'd be for it for sure,
And then we could report on our findings.
Yeah, exactly. We'd have to find like a central location that could allow us to do that.
So that's basically the whole basis of Action Bronson's "Fuck That's Delicious" on Vice, which is an amusing show to me. In case you guys have never seen it.
Okay.
I mean, they just go around and eat stuff. But good. It doesn't have the pretentiousness of Anthony Bourdain.
Hey man. Hey, R.I.P. to Anthony Bourdain. He was a good man. Okay.
It's all right.
I don't know. Well, just reading the things about him and learning about some. Okay, that's a whole tangent. But yeah. All right. So okay, I guess I'll go next. So guys, it's spooky season, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's spooky season. Spooky things are happening. I haven't been playing any spooky games like Charles has. I haven't been watching much spooky movies, for sure. Of course, I'll probably say something that you guys were like, well, you've never seen that, and you guys would be pissed off at me. So I won't mention any.
What Halloween movie have you not seen, Francisco? Just rip the Band-Aid.
Oh, God. I've never seen Friday the 13th. I've never seen Halloween.
What?
I've seen The Omen. I've seen Amityville. I've seen a gosh, what was the other one I saw? I forgot. Anyways, but yeah, never seen was it The Nightmare on Elm Street? Never seen any of that. Never seen the classics. That's for sure. I'm not into the horror stuff much.
I'm
Nah.
quitting this show.
All right. I'm more into comedies and things like that. But anyways, so I'm on YouTube, and I love YouTube, right? We're on YouTube right now, guys. Okay? They suspended us, but we're still on it. And it's spooky season, and I've been watching a lot of mystery YouTube channels. And there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones out there. But I guess one in particular that kind of started me on this rabbit hole of finding other mystery / spooky YouTube channels was one called Nexpo, which is short for Nightmare Expo, right? That sounds like a good place to start. So Nightmare Expo, he's got about 2 million subscribers, but his stuff is good. He's got some really good, well-made videos, documentary-style videos. All right, The Cult in a Boarding School, his latest one, is crazy. That one is, and it's not just spooky stuff. It's also mysterious stuff as well. But a lot of these things, because it's based on reality, it's based on real things, so it's kind of scary. And sometimes he has like a one-off video where he tries to figure out why some cash registers have the Sonic the Hedgehog ring sound when you buy something, and he did like a short video about that. But he's also got this series called Disturbing Things from Around the Internet. And some of those videos make you want to, lock your doors, make sure everything's closed, all your windows are closed, type of things. You don't want any creepy stuff. You hear noise, you wake up suddenly at 4 a.m. You kind of feel a little freaked out. That's one of those that really got me going. But yeah, there's some disturbing things, some horrible things, and just horrendous things, and it's kind of gotten me in the Halloween spirit for sure. So Nightmare Expo is a good one that I would recommend for anybody who wants to get into the spirits and kind of have a lot of fear and fearing for their lives in their day-to-day lives. I think we all need that sometimes, so we don't get caught too off guard sometimes. And you can get a little complacent around real life, and sometimes you need some reminders that, well, some things could go wrong, and this is a channel that shows a lot of things that could go wrong. So but promo code Existential Crisis. All right,
That's the start. So, fellas, we have a first ever. We've been doing this show, 3 years?
Yeah.
This is the first time I have a non-sponsor who's actually sponsoring us here. Because, straight up, my non-sponsor is House of Ashes. we played it over the weekend.
Wait a minute, Charles. Hold on.
Wait, how can a non-sponsor be a sponsor?
You can't use that because they are a sponsor.
Well, this is where we go into the world and say, hey, it's a quick.
Okay, so the non-sponsor has. So a word for our non-sponsors has ended, and now we're in the word from our non-sponsors.
I mean, we've sold out a long time ago, so.
Yeah, but now we've got the double negative here, so it's not a non-sponsor.
We're on a paradox.
Okay.
Well, we're on a paradox, guys. I just don't have a non-sponsor, right? But no.
Go.
So I have played Supermassive games before. I have mentioned Until Dawn, I believe, as the kind of pick your own adventure kind of thing where everything's inconsequential, but it's a damn good time. Where the CGI is always good, the gameplay is very limited to just kind of QTEs and just some.
It's kind of funny. The ad just popped up right now.
Listen, you believe in coincidence.
It knows.
Yeah, you can believe in coincidence, or you just accept it as it is, kids. But I played over the weekend with my friends. We kind of have this annual thing where it's like, oh, it's spooky season. Let's kind of do some kind of gaming that has a choose your own venture. We did that with Until Dawn, Man of Medean, which I skipped out on, and then House of Hope or Little Hope. But then came House of Ashes. I had gotten some good reviews. And I was like, okay, its backdrop is back during the Iraq War, but obviously there's something more spookier there than Saddam's supposed weapons of mass destruction that is, not existent in that time. But you have to play 4 or 5 characters come in. Short game, 6 hours, but it's kind of good for what it has to be. Sometimes these games have high replayability, but it is good either to kind of do yourself. I didn't think this one was necessarily scary, but I did find it interesting. I won't go into full-out detail of what was happening there for your own explorations as part of the Dark Picture anthology, but it has a good cast, good voice acting. Some of the dialogue's a little trite and obvious of how they would portray a military character, but it's a lot of fun. And it's really good if you just have a group of friends over, or family, and you want to do something interesting, and you just kind of put the controller in someone who doesn't play video games that often, so you see what their reactions is, where they're trying to press X or circle or R2 or A, B, X, Y, whatever, going to our Xbox days, because I'm not trying to be PS5 preferential. Runs well, PS5 upgrade. Good times, man. Good times. And they're going to make a 4th one in the Dark Picture because they're going to do it to 2 seasons. So apparently there's one more, which is The Devil in Me, which looks a little bit more Frankensteinish. But I mentioned Supermassive Games before. I've mentioned Until Dawn. So ironically, real recognizes real. I guess that's how we'll kind of curtail this. So they recognize our greatness, so I am recognizing their greatness, and they were able to do this on a lower budget because they didn't have Sony's money supported to it. But hey, thanks House of Ashes for the stream, and you should thank me for kind of already planning this out to speak to you. So House of Ashes, get on your gaming console for spooky season. You can't play after November 1st because then it's just not fair anymore. Francisco probably thought it was going to be another spooky game, but I have not beaten it yet. I will probably, hopefully, if I'm not old and tired, beat it this week, but I don't like to do video games as non-sponsors until I actually finish them, or unless I know I'm happy with it. So that's where we're at now. Maybe they'll be our non-sponsor next week, but you'd be surprised how hard it is just to beat 2 remaining hours is when you're tired and you want to take a nap before you start a show. House of Ashes, promo code Paradox.
Yeah. Okay. That's different.
I don't know. It's the out of 119 episodes, I've only been on for probably
of all the things like we
114
haven't.
of them?
It's funny. We've had things that we like sponsor us, and we're like, you know, that's something that we're into, right? Like the whole time McDonald's was doing, because they haven't shown up lately, so I'm assuming they ended it with us because we kept talking about Burger
We
King.
never tried the damn thing.
We never tried the damn thing. We kept talking about Burger King and Wendy's and KFC, and we never went to them to try any of that stuff. So we didn't do that. We had like those Star Trek diecast models that like Andrew would be super into, and he never bought one of them. You know, at one point we've had countless different types of video games. I'm actually playing Fogs. They were actual sponsor, so I haven't beaten it, but I played
I really
it.
feel bad that we never played the Eden game or whatever the hell it's called, because they were
Yeah. Oh yeah, they
were
were us.
loyal to
They
us.
were they were there for like 7 months or something, right? Yeah. Maybe
You know, I know the catch line. I can never remember the game. I just remember you are Eden,
Yeah.
or you are Eve.
Yeah, you were just cast out of the Garden of Eden, you know, and then you're all pissed off and you got to go back. Yeah. Just thinking of all the things that did. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but yeah, this is the first time that someone's outwardly said the thing that was sponsoring us
planned.
currently. You know.
That's the thing. It was planned, man.
Oh, well then.
Like, I didn't know they were sponsoring us. That's why I was laughing to myself a little bit.
Yeah, we had them. We had Back for Blood, and I've yet to play it, but.
Yeah, Back for Blood. I don't want to say it's going to be a hard sell for me, but if I want to play something from Turtle Rock, I would just replay Left 4 Dead 2, which is a fantastic game in the upper echelon of probably
Valve's never gonna make another one. All right.
No.
Okay, so we are here. I think this is more of a truncated show. I really didn't have much planned, to be honest. So we talk about the hockey thing. Basketball's not much. I guess we can go to college football, right, Andrew? We knew that.
Yeah,
happened over the past weekend?
Another very interesting week in college football.
How about that
By
overtime
the way,
game?
just a quick update on the World Series. I didn't catch who the hitter was, but he came about. If the ball had gone, was maybe. Oh, interesting. Hang on. That was okay. Sorry.
People watching the people who listen to the radio or the audio version of this are gonna be like, "What the hell?" Okay.
So anyway,
I'm
the
eating
guy
cereal, by the way.
I didn't catch who it was. Came up. The outfielder had his back literally touching the wall when he caught this potential home run ball. If the fence was a foot closer, maybe 2 feet closer, it would have been a 3-run home run. Instead, advanced the runners to second and third, and now thanks to a sacrifice ground out, it's now 3-0 Atlanta, 2 outs in the top of the second.
Win, aren't they? They're gonna
Charlie
win
Morton. Charlie Morton got out of a bases-loaded 2-out jam.
They're gonna win it. Okay, all right.
The best thing has to be the fact that Dusty Baker is here managing, because what's Dusty known for? Choking it.
Oh,
Unfortunately, he's gonna choke it. It's gonna be like the first World Series sweep in like 6 years.
Anyway, so what was? Well, I guess we'll give an update, a Sports Goofs update. The original trio of Goofs, myself, Francisco,
that's right.
Doug, went to FIU's homecoming game against Western Kentucky, home of the Hilltoppers, and I was very disheartened when I saw that Big Red was not in attendance. Big Red, of course, was WKU's
The big old thing.
a amorphous red blob of a mascot.
I think it's just a giant hill, right? Isn't he? That was Giant Red Hill?
Nobody knows what he is.
Okay.
Not even hilltoppers know what he is.
Okay.
Or
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't
we
even-
didn't talk about our trip. Let's talk about that, Andrew.
I can't even say it's a he. It's an it.
So yeah, Saturday. It was Andrew's idea to get together and go to homecoming. So we did. We visited the old alma mater. Took a photo at the law school, Charles, just for you because we know you love the law school. So we did that. But beforehand, we had actually. Oh man, that should have been a non-sponsor too, right? A joint non-sponsor with me and Andrew, 109 Burger.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't FIU.
You know.
I would truly quit the show.
So actually, let's go back. Let's do that. You know, we can do that because it's our show. We can do whatever we want. So we went to 109 Burger. So let's just show Charles some of the things that we. I don't know if you've been there, Charles. Not sure if you went there.
Probably in my time in Miami.
It's right, literally right next to the school, literally right there across the street. So is this the right one? I have no effing clue if this is the right one. Oh yeah, this is it. All right, so yeah, 109 Burger. So here it is. We each got. I forgot what Doug got. I forgot. Oh no, Doug got tacos. I got tacos, but because I assumed that they had gluten-free buns, but apparently they don't. I was misled by a reviewer on Yelp, so that person can go screw themselves. But me and Andrew were able to partake in the hamburger offerings that they had there, and I'm trying to see if they have photos here. I'm sure you can't see it, of course, in the audio version of this, but I will try and find a photo of what Andrew had. But Andrew, what did you have?
I had a cheeseburger.
Describe the cheese. It ain't just no cheeseburger.
It was the cheese was a 4-cheese macaroni and cheese. So it was a burger slathered with macaroni and cheese.
So I'm on the Yelp page, and we'll see if we can find a. Oh yeah, there it is. There's the photo right there. There it is. All right.
I'll be honest. I was very whelmed with the burger.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: when you're getting that burger with the mac and cheese on it, you're expecting that mac and cheese to be hot. Or at least warm. It wasn't. It was lukewarm at best.
Okay.
Not to mention, and again, I have a ton of respect for people in the service industry. They take
Oh
so
yeah,
much-
it was the folly for sure on the thing was that they made us wait for quite a while. This is less of a non-sponsor, more of a food review critique.
This is exactly what I want us to evolve into.
Let me.
I mean, it might eventually become that.
Let me preface my statement by saying this. Like I said, I have all the respect in the world for people that work in the service industry. They are grossly underpaid for how much shit they have to deal with from management, from customers, you name it. But 109 Burger, which was really not super crowded, I suppose.
I think they look like they were at full capacity for the most part, except for the bar, because they had that one giant table, and there was a bunch of people sitting in those booths on the side.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was, and then they had like a couch in the middle of the thing. So I
So
think
it
it was
wasn't-
full in their sense.
Yeah, it's full capacity. Now that you mention it. But still, it took us like, 45 minutes to get our food?
Yeah, I think most likely the kitchen ran late because maybe all those people showed up at once. They had that big giant table with like 6, 7, 8 people there, so they probably were getting to their food and they just took a while on us. So because we had like 4 or 5 refills of our sodas.
I know, it was
By the time
crazy.
yeah, I mean, that's the reason we got to the law school. I had to go, you know. But yeah, okay. So what did you think? I mean, aside from lukewarm. What did you think of the burger itself overall?
Again, I was whelmed.
Okay, well, okay.
I mean, listen,
It's massive. It's huge.
Yeah, it is. The problem is, if it was, I go back to the whole warm thing. If it was warmer, I think it would have tasted better.
Is that the burger?
Yeah, the one on the screen if you're watching the video version. But yes,
There's a lot going on.
yeah. There's several different things of it there. That's. I mean, the mac and cheese. I'm not. I mean, I like mac and cheese. I wasn't. I mean, I've had it, of course. I'm not gonna say I didn't have mac and cheese. All right, Charles would really kill me. But,
Oh, I would just get in my car right now. That's a paddling.
No, I've had mac and cheese, but I'm just.
Well, tell you what,
I've had gourmet
Charles,
mac and cheese like at like a steakhouse.
Charles,
How
tell you
about
what, one of these days when you're free, we'll hit up 109 Burger.
I
Charles
feel like
is
we
taking time
would
off finally.
we'd have to go at the because I've been there a couple, maybe 3 or 4 times now, and it never was like that, Andrew. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, I've never had to wait that long for the food to come out. So
I mean,
So-
45 minutes though is kind of
yeah, but
relative,
for
10, 15
I
minutes.
get
So,
it.
I've never been-
No,
don't
I
recall
understand
one of
that,
those.
but for hamburgers, it seemed like it was running on a bit, you know, for sure.
And again,
and I got
listen,
mine last. Mine took the longest for some reason.
Yeah, and his was delayed by another probably 5 minutes, and they got Charles'
Ooh,
order
longer.
wrong. Or they got Doug's order wrong initially.
Yeah, they got his
Doug and I are one
soft
person. It's okay.
Yeah, so it was
He
he
ordered hard shell. They gave him
Soft shell.
Soft shell.
and we already had that debate on the show. So,
Yeah, you read my mind because I was about to say some stuff.
I felt like he got rid of the superior version of the tacos, but you know,
I agree.
you know, but yeah.
Hard
Hard
shell
ones
just
get
cuts
the
my
hard
mouth.
ones.
Sorry, I haven't really. I just had wraps for lunch, and I'm just munching on some Special K right now on the side. But it's our show, so it doesn't really matter, right? I had the Blue Moon burger. All right, so
Show me this.
Blue Moon beer battered patty. So that's already a good start for me. Blue cheese, of course. Got that. Got the lettuce and the arugula in there. You know, I got the
Okay.
pickle. Got the pickle.
Am I like the person who sees like a seasoned bun and just gets freaked out because it's so uncommon these days? You think brioche buns, you
Yeah.
think pretzel buns.
Oh no, the sesame seed, you know, good sesame seed buns. I appreciate a good sesame seed bun, for sure, especially when they're very seedy, you know. Not like I can get like the Wonder Bread sesame seed bun and all that stuff, but that was the the gourmet style one, and I was very much a fan of that. And it was massive as well. This normally comes with like caramelized onions. I don't like onions. I took that off, but for the most part, I was very, very satisfied with this burger. It came out warm for me, Andrew, so it wasn't any of that. Comes with fries, of course, and I like the tangy dip that these things came with for sure for the fries, and I really enjoyed that. So that's what I had, Charles. That's the review. This is a sports show, everybody. So there you go. So that was our little excursion to 109 Burger before we headed back to the law school, and then I dicked around in the library for a bit. I wanted to move some stuff around, but Andrew wouldn't let me. I wanted to move things around, just move things where they weren't supposed to be, and be like, I feel like I should be able to do that if I graduate from the school. I feel like that should be a rite of passage, you know. Aside from getting on the roof, I've always wanted to get on the roof and
Why
throw.
did you subject yourself to return?
Because Andrew said we wanted to go to homecoming. I had to go to the bathroom. And the law school is the closest building, and the only building that I really know. And I knew the bathrooms were, on a Saturday were going to be clean because nobody else. Like 5 people in there, Andrew, that we saw in the library? Something like that, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, 5 people. I actually wanted to scare people, too. And be like, it doesn't work out, everybody. I wanted to be spooky, but it didn't look like they wanted to be bothered, so. You know, he's like, guys, I graduated from the school, and I'll tell you all the things, all the horrible things. Yeah, but then we headed off to the game, and it was more crowded than we thought it would be, to be honest. Right, Andrew?
Yeah, I'd say yeah.
You know, I didn't like. There were other people that looked like they weren't students there, and we saw there was like a Halloween contest as well for the kids that was going on at the same time. Me and Doug bought our tickets online quickly, popped inside. We headed on over to one of the corners that didn't really have a lot of people, and we sat ourselves down and we watched the game. It started off okay initially, the game, but then
FIU actually was leading.
Yeah, we were leading.
It was. I was impressed. I was thoroughly impressed.
And thought was like.
Oh, let me give you some context here.
Yeah.
So, FIU went 6-7 in 2019. Their last FBS, they lost their bowl game, but they became bowl eligible with a win over Miami. And that was a huge upset, and it was fantastic being able to cover that game. Everyone was stunned. The very much pro-Miami crowd was stunned. But they haven't won an FBS game since. Their sole win, they lost their FCS game last year against Francisco's beloved Jacksonville State Gamecocks.
Okay.
But yeah, so they went winless last season, and then this season their one and only win to date was against the LIU Sharks. LIU, of course, being Long Island University. Of course. So, other than that, they are 1-5 on this season. They've lost the rest of their non-conference games, and so far winless in conference. So they have not won an FBS game since, I want to say, November 23rd of 2019.
Dear Lord.
And there was the chance, the possibility that they could have done it this time. They actually had a lead at one point. They were keeping it close. And then everything went to shit. It was no fun, and I'm ashamed to admit it. I've only left a football game early once in my life, and that was because I had to go to a wedding reception. I was able to negotiate a deal where I could miss the ceremony for a big UCF game against South Carolina if I went to the wedding reception. That was the one and only time prior to this Saturday that I left a game early. And that was just because Doug and Francisco wanted to. But still, it was worth it because nothing of interest happened afterward, and we were able to walk freely without any issues.
That sounds like hell. I don't know. One day I'll probably go back to FIU.
Oopsies.
No, I will like it.
You'll probably be giving a talk, Charles, because you seem to be on that track right now with all of your
I
presentations.
sold out, guys. I don't know how the hell that happened.
One day you're gonna be up there in front of those students and be like,
You guys, I've done not one but two CLEs.
yeah.
Oh,
You should have given me the code, man. I need to, comply. I have until 2023, but still.
What's in 2023?
My compliance for the Florida Bar CLE. I've already done like five. I've already got like five of the 20 or 30 hours that we need, but
The scary prospect that we have, right?
Sorry, I'm drinking a shake right now. I'm hungry, guys. Sorry. So we're okay. So yeah, FIU. Yeah, it was more about hanging out with the guys.
So anyway, yeah, FIU lost naturally. It was a very underwhelming game for the Panthers. And
But the burger race
yes,
and the taco race.
and the taco race. FIU in the middle of the second quarter has a burger race where it's two teams of two line up. One of them is on the goal line. The other is around, I don't know, the 25-yard line. And a little bit of a few things of ingredients, quote unquote, are lined up between them. The two people are dressed up as burger buns. So player one has to run back and forth to put all of these ingredients on the bottom bun person who's lying on the ground.
One person's sole job is just to lie there.
Right. And then, so eventually the team that is able to put all of the ingredients on and then the top person on, so it's whoever makes the first complete burger wins. And I think the funniest part is you see the top person basically just do a five-star splash onto the bottom bun person.
Yeah, the last part, especially if it's close and somebody needs to win. You need
And
that photo finish.
hopefully, Charles, you're proud of me of throwing that wrestling reference in.
Rob Van Dam, 5-star frog splash for all those who don't know. I am.
I mean, minus the kind of tuck in, because you can't really do that from 2 feet above the person, but still. Yeah, it's very funny. And then they have a similar thing for taco, except it's just one person per team. And then they have to roll themselves into a taco, which I'm not sure. Is a taco if it's rolled up like that?
We could have this debate. Technically, it might be a burrito if it's closed in on both the beginning and the end of it.
It's open on both sides.
It's a taco. Francisco, you want Mr. Hispanic, Mr. I've never had a root beer float? He just ran away from this. I would say...
What happened? I'm back. I'm sorry.
Wow. You missed an important thing there, good buddy.
What happened? What did I miss?
Andrew, re-ask your question, sir.
If a soft taco is rolled,
Yes.
is it a taco?
I gotta put this down. Let me see. Hold on a second. No.
Well,
No, it's not.
here's the thing. Francisco, if it was closed off at the beginning and the end of it, it would be a burrito. But I would venture that it is a taco because part of the airness of the soft taco is having a wrap around. Unless you consider, okay, my dogs are going crazy on this debate. Unless you consider the facet of an open-faced sandwich logic when it comes to open-faced taco.
Let's see.
And it must be visible
I gotta
all
think.
around.
Hold on. I gotta think about this. You know, taquitos are also,
But they're also deep fried.
well, they're deep fried, yes, but they do start off as tacos, and I can kind of subscribe to that because they are open ended at the end of those, because they were once tacos, but they were all rolled up and then deep fried. So, yeah, it's all about the way you fold Mexican food that determines its category. So,
So you're saying it has to be, and I'm not trying to be graphic on our show, but I'm just giving the best example. It has to be held as if I'm peeing in order to be a taco. It has to be visible. It has to be like a hot dog. This opens a scarier concept.
I gotta research this. I gotta go
Is
online.
a taco, a soft taco that is folded, the cousin of a hot dog, which equals the greatest debate ever.
Cousin of no, it cannot
I'm
be.
just saying. There's a comfortable
Then you would
truth
say pigs in a blanket. are tacos in that sense.
Pigs and bacon is a croissant with meat inside. It is actually closer to an empanada than we think.
These are the philosophical differences the Cardinals fired their manager for. You know,
Pretty much. He probably says a hot dog a sandwich, and they fired him Schlitt when he says a hot pocket's on empanada. I'm like, you stand on your principles.
All right. What? Man, this is much more of a food-based episode than I thought. I thought it would be. We had the Costco food. We went on 109 bird, and now we're talking about this. You know, but yeah, this. And yeah, it seems to be creeping into that sort of territory at some point, Charles. At some point, we will make that transition. And we'll just be called Food Goofs or something. You know? And did Andrew pop out? Are you still there, Andrew?
I'm here.
Okay. Yeah.
He's just thinking, like, these two are stupid.
So that was the FIU football game. But there were other football games, Andrew, of much greater note.
Mm-hmm. Well, first, before I get to those, I want to discuss the ongoing saga that is conference realignment.
Here we go.
We have an official update today, and we have a likely. I touched on these last time in our last show because they were just kind of starting to become strong rumors. One of them is official now. The other is possibly going to be official tomorrow. And it seems like everything might be wrapped up by the end of this week. But Conference USA is on life support, gentlemen. So a conference that started this year with 14 teams is going to have 5 remaining at the beginning of the 2023 season. 6 of the teams are being poached by the American Athletic Conference. Another 3 are being poached by the Sun Belt. The one that is official is Southern Miss. They made the official announcement today. There's a possibility that Old Dominion will make their announcement tomorrow. And then the remaining 2 are Marshall, and then James Madison, which is an FCS school. There's a chance that they will join in, and there's another home run to left, a 2-run shot. Houston's starting pitcher, that's Adam Duvall, former Marlin, goes yard to that short porch. It's 5-0, and we've got Surrender Cobras already making an appearance in Houston. Atlanta Braves, first team in World Series history to score in each of the first 3 innings of Game 1.
Lord.
It is 5-0 Atlanta in the top of the 3rd with 0 out. Unreal. So we have we have a lot of history, plus we have free tacos.
Wow, so that sounds like a basic Saturday night date for Charles. That was funny. I had to just go for that. It's a jab at myself, but damn, that's what we're here for.
And then the other kind of historic thing, it wasn't the first time this has happened, but it was just the 3rd time it had happened. Charlie Morton in that first inning gave up, what was it? Hold on. It's so insane that I need to read it out. I'll get back to my college football thing in a second. Where is it?
Whereas I'm looking at this Sora DLC, Francisco, wondering if I need it.
This what?
The Sora DLC for Smash Bros.
I mean,
because I just beat Pokemon when we were going on the whole thing. So I was like, all right, let's take a peek at this.
I mean, if you want to see how he looks like he plays, you could always go online and I could choose him as a character. You can see what he looks like.
Oh, I watched a little bit of it. I don't know if I'll like it. I have not subscribed
completely,
to it.
very, very floaty character, for sure.
He's basically Kirby without being the fat.
And you know what he feels like? He feels like the way you play Brawl, right?
Yeah.
You remember how floaty Brawl was? He's like that. Wow. So if you enjoy Brawl, which I did, then you kind of get an idea of what Sora is like with regards to like how he jumps around and stuff.
Well, anyway, I'll try and find it later. But so yeah, 5-0 Atlanta. We got a pitching change finally for Houston's sake. Oh man. Anywho, back to conference realignment. So Sunbelt will be going to 14 teams starting in 2023. Like I said, Conference USA down to 5. They need a minimum of 6 to have an automatic berth into the... I know, the word berth is very upsetting. I know. I am sorry, David.
Yeah, my dog is going. Let me see what the hell's going on. 2 seconds, boys.
So you need a minimum of 6 teams to get an automatic berth into the NCAA tournament. March Madness, if you will. So they need at least one more team, and it seems like they are now the bottom rung of FBS. Officially. They have officially become the bottom rung of FBS.
Yikes.
So the only teams they will be able to get will either be the independent schools or FCS schools. The only FBS schools that might be interested in joining them are New Mexico State, but that'll be hell because already UTEP is on an island. New Mexico State will have UTEP as a travel partner, but that's about it. Everyone else is somewhere on the East Coast.
Those travel expenses, yeah.
There's that. There's the possibility that Liberty, but that school comes with so much political baggage.
Yeah, what wasn't something that just went down with that school right now?
Yeah, it was released that female students who were sexually assaulted or raped were told either to not report, or if they did report, were told that they would be written up on honor code violations.
Yeah. Man, this is a very weird
dark
episode for us.
Yeah, like, but let me explain what's absolutely insane about the one story that I read. So Liberty is a religious school. It was started by Jerry Falwell, the televangelist. It's still run by his family, if I remember correctly. But their honor code, the Liberty Way, as they call it, it's very strict. One of the rules is there can be no fraternization between. I think the way they word it is that the opposite sexes cannot be in a state of undress with each other.
Huh. That's ripped straight out of Puritanism, but sure.
And that's not my lingo. That's the lingo from the article I read. I probably would have said it a little more bluntly, which would be you can't be naked. You can't be naked with a girl can't be naked with a guy. A guy can't be naked with a girl. Period. But they have to word it their special way.
But if it's the same gender, then it's all okay. Unless it's all okay unless they start getting really weird with each other, and then it's not okay. So in the end, just keep her clothes on.
So anyway, this woman was at a party, was assaulted.
That's not. Oh yeah, but just for everybody, that's not how I feel. That's how the school feels. Okay.
Right.
It's 2021. I don't kink shame.
Yeah, I couldn't care less. As long as you're not hurting another person, you can do whatever the hell you want. Is my view. Um, but so she was at a party, was drunk, like people do at parties. She was assaulted while drunk, which is rape. Uh, in addition to the fact that she did not consent. But you can't consent while you're drunk, but she didn't even consent if she could consent. But instead, the Title IX compliance officer or whatever said, because you were naked with a guy, you could be written up on a Liberty Way violation. What? Are you for real? We're going to ignore the fact that this dude broke so many laws and said you're going to be blaming her because she got raped. Wonderful job, Liberty. I've had I've had my reservations with Liberty for other reasons. I will admit I am not a fan of Liberty at all. Prior to all this coming out, but this is just next level. I wish the school would lose its accreditation. I wish some kind of something would happen to them. I don't know if it will, but god damn, it's horrid. It's awful.
This has been a really weird. This is what
This is the darkest timeline episode.
I didn't plan much going into this show. I mean, the title theme. I always have a title for each episode. It's no theme. That was the theme. Was that there's no theme because I didn't think much unremarkable will happen. But then, so we're talking about this and we're talking about Chicago Blackhawks thing. But then you juxtapose that.
Did you catch much of what I said, Charles?
We juxtapose that to
What did you say,
us
Andrew?
debating whether a taco rolled up is considered a taco.
Did you catch what I was talking about, Liberty?
Well, that they suck.
Yeah,
What?
that's a pretty much good. He's got it. He's got it. If he's been, paying attention to the news with all the more pervy stuff is happening, Charles. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. All right, can we should get back on track.
Yeah.
We're at 1 hour and 52 minutes now. For the
So,
show.
anyway, Conference USA. It's my guess is they're likely going to have to poach some of the historically black colleges and universities. Some people are thinking FAMU.
Who's actually having a good season this year?
Right. Other school potential options that are not HBCUs are Tarleton State, Sam Houston State, McNeese. So whatever happens, either Conference USA is going to die or it is going to live as a Frankenstein's monster sort of a conference, because it's going to be a bunch of leftovers. So it'll be the next couple of months are going to be very, very interesting. I possibly think it might even be better for FIU to just go independent, because at least in football only independent, because there are a lot of schools within an 11-hour drive. It's cheaper to drive than it is to fly. There are, I think I counted 14 schools within an 11-hour drive. So you've got that are FBS schools, not even to mention FCS. You've got the other 6 Floridas. You got 4 in Georgia, and you've got for in Alabama, all, like I said, within an 11-hour drive. So it might just be beneficial to them to just serve as a buy game for a few years, stack up some money in your athletics war chest, and hope to God that you're good enough at some point that someone might take you or some other conference might start up. But it's not looking good for FIU, Western Kentucky. I forget the other schools that are going to be left, but it's not looking good. So, for football, for the remaining of football, let me just do a quick update on our teams. UCF won in its space game. I think it was 24-7 against Memphis. We are playing Temple this weekend up in Philly. Miami eked out, much to chagrin, eked out a win over number 18 NC State.
Yeah.
Which,
And it was a winning team too.
yikes. That's not what you want.
4 more years of Manny. 4 more years of Manny.
That's not what you want happening if you're trying to get rid of your head coach.
He is the Aaron Boone of college football.
Yep. What do you mean play hard for your coach? We had the perfect thing too, because he was already going to get passed with De'Ara King getting hurt.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
now. I'm going to play the young guys, and you know.
And then Jeff Van Dyke looking like competent. Where was this for the last 3 games?
This Saturday, good luck. Well, actually, no, because Clemson sucks this year. So you might.
I want that. I'll
Yeah.
take another 4 years of Manny Diaz if I could just show that Dabo Sweeney is a bad coach.
But yeah, Clemson, FSU, up in Clemson. That'll be interesting because Clemson is actually shit this year.
If the Seminoles
I think they-
find a
I
way to
think-
go back to 500.
And
I mean-
FSU is better without that trash quarterback starting. So
Oh,
you have a
gosh.
chance, Francisco.
But they're 3-4, and they could be 500. I mean,
hope.
I mean, of course, I'm a diehard Bearcats fan, so I shouldn't be that invested into them. But you know,
Listen, you're just going to live on nostalgia and free tacos with FSU. It's going to bring you back.
Oh, speaking of free tacos, fantastic tweet. I didn't catch who it was, but someone said that Ozzy Albies did more to feed minor leaguers than any of the MLB teams.
that's a good one. Oh yeah, that was something that went down. Now, all the Major League Baseball teams are going to provide housing for their minor leaguers. So,
Which I'm loving that.
so that's actually happening. Guys, you know how bad this was, and I know this is a bit of a tangent, but I think I highlighted it before. But there, you can adopt a minor leaguer. Did you guys have heard of this organization, right?
I have not.
Well, if you look up Adopt a Minor Leaguer, they are an organization that helps minor leaguers survive. So you can, much like you see on those commercials where, like, if you could donate just $1 a day, just the cost of a cup of coffee, you can help
Only you
these.
can prevent forest fires.
And it's basically the minor league baseball version of that, where you can adopt a minor league baseball player and donate to them and take care of them. So there you go. That's how bad it was. And if people had seen the conditions where a lot, like, these guys are literally sleeping on sleeping bags in a room, sharing it amongst 7 other men, and yeah, it's pretty bad, especially. And you would think that Major League Baseball teams would almost treat it like college football teams do, where, hey, having the better facilities will attract the better free agents and sign the better kids coming out of school and international free agents. You would think, right? You would think that would be the mindset, but it wasn't. And maybe this will be the start. Maybe our Lord and Savior Derek Jeter will see that and be like, you know what? If we invest money that supposedly we don't have, but money into our minor league program, the show, whatever, and we might get the best players to come here just solely based on that, recruiting them. Oh, look at that. Recruiting in minor league baseball. Look at that. It could be a thing. The Marlins could be the start of something beautiful here. Please, somebody listen to me. Please, somebody who can make a difference in the Marlins organization, do that, please. All right. So that was.
Then last but not least, FIU. They are still technically not eliminated from bowl eligibility. They just somehow have to
win out.
Win their next 5 games in a row.
They have to win out.
Their next one is at future Sun Belt team, most likely. Marshall. It's up in Huntington. They're playing this Saturday. So that's the college football report, I suppose. There was a bit of upsets, but we're running low on time, so I'll cover a lot of that next week.
We're at the 2-hour mark, so I guess we can just do a quick rundown of the NFL before we head to the cage. All right, Charles. Your beloved Tennessee Titans are the kings of the AFC right now, so you know.
It's so good.
They've defeated
so
in the regular season.
They call Buffalo a fluky win, and then now they just want to say how bad Kansas City is. Where's my respect? RESPECT. Find out what that means to me.
Look at this. Andy Reid has a 1-8 career record versus Kansas City, the worst of any franchise that he's ever faced. Interesting.
You mean against Tennessee?
Yeah, Andy Reid versus Tennessee. Interesting.
It's just over, man. It's just over. We figured out we got Bud Dupree playing again. He was out for like the first 3-4 games of the season. We got Danico Autry. We got crappy corners, but we doing good because you want to know why? We don't believe your hype. We don't believe your hype. That's us. That's what we do. Derrick Henry didn't even have a good game. We didn't even need to have a good game. We just took it, what we wanted. And it just helps us because that division is so bad. Are we the team you want to play come playoff time? I don't know.
We'll see.
That's all I'll say about that. I don't want to get my britches too high up.
I know this segment was killed a long time ago, but the Miami Dolphins are terrible, guys.
Oh, man.
All right, so normally during these games, Doug and I tweet, but guess what? I wasn't watching the game at all. I was binging a show on Netflix because I want to do something better with my free time. Doug was texting me.
You want to enjoy life?
Yeah, Doug was texting me, and he was like, I was checking the score. They were down by a bunch, and I'm like, oh, well, yeah. And it's the Atlanta Falcons, supposedly. Like, they were supposed to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, but they're 3-3 now. And then Doug was texting me, look what's happening. And I'm like, Doug, don't. Just don't. Just do not, Doug. Okay? You know how this is going to end. Dolphins, yeah, the game is right there. They took the lead. Oh, they took the lead. It's 28-27. Plenty of time on the clock. The Dolphins' defense is terrible. Plenty of time for the Falcons to drive it up the field, get within field goal range, and then punch it in right at the last second. And that's what happened. That's exactly how it happened. That's exactly what I believe would happen. And it did happen. And the Dolphins are 1-6 now. And local sports radio is funny to listen to. I feel like the more the Dolphins suck, the more I'm leaning into it now. I'm more leaning into I'm a hater for sure. I'm a hater now for sure.
Question is, what do you hate?
A lot of things. A lot of things about the Dolphins. I hate a lot of things about them right now. All right. Browns beat the Broncos 14-17. Oh, yeah, we did that on last Thursday. We did a show, so that was happening. Duke Johnson is back, everybody. He's on the Dolphins practice squad now, so... Okay. The New York Giants beat the Carolina Panthers. I am so glad I jumped off that bandwagon when I did. So, good on me. The Patriots destroyed the Jets.
It felt good.
Yeah. My beloved Green Bay Packers won 24-10 over the football team. So,
Oh, can I interject really quick?
Yes.
Since I need to run shortly, but I wanted to cover some really big news.
Big news.
With my Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, well.
Tom Brady threw his 600th touchdown.
And can you believe that guy gave up the ball? The guy got the ball. He got the ball after the...
Which,
after...
fun fact, he's a UCF alum, 2015.
Huh. Does he have money? Because he gave up a lot of money.
Well, hold on. Did you hear what he's getting in return?
What is he getting in return? Because I haven't heard that.
Not enough of what he would have gotten if he sold Todd Brady's ball.
At minimum, it was worth $500,000.
Here, hold on.
According to the famous sports auction places.
So he is getting. That's a double.
Better get
by
season tickets for
Brantley.
life at least. I would think.
So he's getting 2 signed jerseys and a helmet from Brady.
All right, give it.
He's getting a signed jersey and game-worn cleats from Mike Evans.
So do kids who have the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
From
This
that
guy
game.
turned up a lot of money.
From that game. I mean, if it's from the game, if he got jerseys like Brady's jersey and helmet and stuff from that game, then we're talking.
I don't know if it was from that game, but
Nah, that at least Brady's jersey is probably going to the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
He's getting $1,000 to the Bucks team store.
$1,000. That's it.
He's getting 2 season tickets for the remainder of this season, plus all of next season, and 1 Bitcoin.
Okay, the Bitcoin. That actually makes it worth it.
And
He can hang on to that. He never had it before, but he
it's-
could just hang on to it.
And it's not like 1/10 or 1/1,000,000th of a Bitcoin.
No, he got the whole damn thing.
Bitcoin.
He got the
Which
whole damn
I
thing.
think it's currently valued at $63,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that all right. That makes it worth it. Unless it completely tanks, but whatever. He can just hang on. He never had it in the first place before. Now he has it. He can just hang on to it and see what happens.
Right, and see, here's the thing, though. He by fortune got the ball. There is no way he should have gotten that ball.
Nope.
Mike Evans just had a brain fart and didn't realize that was the 600th touchdown.
Yeah.
In any other universe, of all of the infinite universes, this is the one where he gets the ball.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's making, someone estimated all of this to be worth $100,000 in total.
Out of something that shouldn't have happened. Okay.
I think he got a really damn good deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that you put it in that light, I agree with you now.
And, I mean, all of that, even minus the Bitcoin, that's pretty good deal right there. But then you throw in that Bitcoin, it's like he definitely came out better here.
And
it's
I'm
not
just trying to think of it from a logistics perspective. Like if he got the ball and he knew, and he just started making a break for it, I think it would take a while for him to get out of that stadium. They would have caught him.
Well, someone from the Bucks went up to him immediately, not immediately, but like 2 seconds later after they realized what happened. And they said, and immediately went into negotiation mode. He didn't even have time to get out of the stadium.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, supposedly it would have been worth $500,000. I'm sure it was like Sotheby's or whatever that came up with it.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that it would be worth $500,000, but this isn't baseball where.
Yeah, but it's 600. It's nobody's ever done it. It's so unique, and that is a record that's gonna stand for a long, long time.
Right.
Forever.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get, because, I mean, you had Hank Aaron, whatever, but that could still happen, especially with, let's say, a juiced ball, smaller ballparks. Somebody could, and somebody stays relatively healthy, they could hit 700 and Bonds is 763 home runs. I'm sure somebody can do that again.
But anyway, I think given the fact that he lucked into that ball. I think he came out really good. And supposedly the season tickets were worth $20,000.
Oh, he got the good seats then.
I don't know what season tickets would be worth 20. What pair of season tickets for 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons would be worth $20,000? I assume they're very good seats because I know them.
They have to be club seats.
That's not exactly a fair comparison. Their upper deck seats are $500 per season. So if it's $20,000,
that's got to be a club seat. That has to be club seats.
So I don't know, but either way, I think, yeah, I think he came out of this really, really good.
Okay. A quick other. Okay, continuing with so that was the Bucks. They won over the Bears. So the Bears are owned by both Rodgers and Brady now. The Raiders won 33-22 over the Eagles. The Rams beat the Lions 28-19. Bengals 41-17 over the Ravens. So their largest margin of victory versus Baltimore in team history. Look at that. Look at Cincinnati. Look at that. All right, the Colts beating the 49ers 30-18 on Sunday. So there you go. The Saints eking out over the Seahawks 13-10. And Charles's beloved Arizona Cardinals are still undefeated 31-5.
Frauds.
But they face the Houston Texans, so, you know.
Yeah. I mean, look at that entire schedule. I'm not even going to waste any more breath on it.
All right, so that's the NFL. That's the rundown. That's the things that happen. And
that's it for me.
All right, Andrew.
I gotta go, gentlemen. It was a pleasure. I'll chat with you guys later
Next week.
And talk to you soon.
All
Good
right.
night, everyone.
We'll see Andrew next week, and we shall see Charles right now because we are going to head on over to the cage.
Welcome, everybody, to your weekly Trueplex with Charles, the cage with Charles. You see, I was doing like 3 things at once. I was setting into it. So let's take it back from the top because wrestling, just like this introduction, is scripted. It is not fake. It is a story of men and women trying to beat the hell out of each other, trying to get a championship opportunity to pursue their championships, establish their legacy, be on the Mount Rushmore. And it's been an interesting time, Francisco, and I'm going to try to condense it in the best way I can because right now we're having an NXT Halloween Havoc, and there's already been 2 title changes, and we're probably guaranteed a 3rd one. Charles did finish Crown Jewel the same night after we left last week, and I'll give you some impressions there. And in the world of AEW and New Japan Wrestling, I don't like being right about things, and I hate being wrong about things. So it's kind of like I'm stuck in between because if you boast about being right about stuff, you're not viewed as humble. But if you are wrong about the whole times, then you're just an idiot. So I'm going to approach this bit by bit. New Japan Wrestling, G1 Climax tournament. What do we know about the G1 Climax? It was a round-robin tournament to which the person who finishes at the end of the finals gets a guaranteed shot in the future would against, that current heavyweight champion. In this case, it was Shingo Takagi, who is the current champion. And Charles had made predictions. He says Zack Sabre Jr. should have won. That did not happen. It was left to Kazuka Okada versus Kota Ibushi. Kota once again went to the finals, and Kazuka is like the John Cena of the group. He is just very known, very loved, very revered, very kind of like safe for the title. He has a great legacy. So Kota ends up injuring himself by kind of botching a move from the top rope, and he ends up like tearing his shoulder, so he's out of action for 2 months. So Kota lost. Okada wins by referee stoppage, so it's not even that they get the opportunity to make some calls and changes. It was just more or less like he had to stop the match, and it wasn't even a roll-up pin. It wasn't like a clean victory. It kind of ruined it very bleh. G1 Climax, I did not get the opportunity to see all the matches. There's only so much I can do as a human being to watch all that wrestling at once, but man, y'all should have just gone with Zack Sabre Jr., but he is going to get a title shot against Shingo Takagi at Power Struggle later in the month or next month because of the fact that he did beat Shingo in
the tournament just for non-titles. So that's something, I guess, to work with. But New Japan's just not a good product right now. It's not up to the par of what it is. And part of it is the lack of new stars. Part of it is relying on the same 3 or 4 people that kind of work with. Part of it is that they suffered from the pandemic travels, such as Jay White being over in New Japan Strong in the U.S. as opposed to going in there and helping. So New Japan, we'll wait and see. That's all I can tell you on them. Impact. There was a pay-per-view, Bound for Glory. It pulled a WWE move, and I still loved it, Francisco. To summarize some stuff, you have new champions for Bound for Glory. You have Mickie James, who beat Deonna Purrazzo for the Impact Women's Championship. I'm not a fan of it, not because of the fact that I don't like Mickie James. She's all right. It's more or less the fact that Mickie herself is still a freelancer. Impact, I felt, was struggling and starving from having AEW just basically hold their championships for ransom. And now you're bringing somebody who's not even a full-time deal. Now, mind you, Mickey's probably going to get a full-time deal. That's me speculating about certain things, but she's probably going to get a full-time deal and beyond there. But now you don't have it. Now Deonna lost. I'm sure they'll finish out that feud in the future. Mickey will probably drop it, but I'm kind of like, you have to build your homegrown stars. Main event match was Christian Cage on AEW defending his Impact Championship against Josh Alexander, the walking weapon, the guy that we're big on. And in the end of the match was that Alexander won the title, celebrating his family. And then Moose, this big old specimen, comes in and cashes in his contract of like call your shot, which is basically Money in the Bank. If you see, imitation is the highest form of flattery, Francisco. So now Moose is your champion. This is what should have happened originally. Moose was challenging against Kenny, and Kenny didn't want to put Moose over. Or when I say Kenny didn't want to put Moose over, it's not that Kenny didn't want to put Moose over, but Impact did not make that decision to have Moose go over Kenny for whatever reason might be. They just kind of played hot potato a little bit. And now you have Alexander, who could be a mega babyface for the organization, try to get Moose in that title. But we're going to see. I don't know what the booking looks like fully, because I feel just like hell being empty and the Devils are here, that now that you put this out, go play House of Ashes, kids. Now that you have like Moose with the title, you can't just go straight to Alexander, because aren't you ruining the credibility of that championship? It's already been kind of tarnished, in my opinion, when you have people outside of the organization having the championship as is. But you got to let Moose have a good run, especially if he's got Morrissey on his side. So we'll see when that time comes where Alexander actually takes the belt from him. Does any of this make Impact more interesting? Slightly. I'm not crazy. I wasn't crazy about Kenny having the Impact Championship. I wasn't crazy about Christian having the Impact Championship. I would have been big time crazy for Alexander to do it, but what this does for Moose, who is a heel, is give him what, Francisco? Heel heat. Makes you want to hate him a little bit, right? Because imagine a guy's just celebrating with his family, and then Moose comes in out of nowhere and then just spears him right in front of his kid and pins him in front of his kid, and then is just boasting that title in front of his kid. That's basically Moose saying, F yo kids. He's Michael Jordan in that, real hardcore. He's Charles Barkley.
Hold on. What does "and new" mean?
And new?
Yeah, is that his name?
Hashtag and no. And new. Impact Wrestling champion.
I didn't put it together. All right. Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We're all here. We're all in this together now. So that's going on with Impact. AEW, we're slogging. I haven't talked about them in the last couple of weeks because they've just been doing stuff I'm not crazy about. They've brought in a lot of new guys. Daniel Bryan, who's not really new, but he's Bryan Danielson now. They got CM Punk coming in. They got Malachi Black. They got Bobby Fish, who used to be in the WWE. I just don't see what the end result was. I feel like the last big thing they did was the Sammy Guevara winning the TNT title off of Miro. And Miro has been solid even post losing that title, but we got Full Gear coming up, as you see with the card, and yeah, I can get behind, Hangman Page winning, because that feels like a given unless AEW is just going to postpone it. But I've kind of felt like some steam has been lost a little bit. Part of it has because they have been preempted to Saturday nights and Friday nights, given the baseball series that's going on, the playoffs.
Baseball, but now hockey. And
now hockey, so they've lost some steam into it. I feel that we'll talk more about them in the coming weeks. The only thing I would highlight is the fact that Hangman Page definitely is your company build on, so I know Kenny's going to get it, but don't prolong it. And the other thing that they're doing is they're doing the world title eliminator for somebody to become number one contender. And my problem is when I looked at who was in there, like, don't get me wrong, there's people who have to be there. John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, all that. But Dustin Rhodes, formerly known as Goldust, you don't need to be there. If you want to really put some stars in there, put some stars in there. But I don't know. Unless your whole process is, we're just trying to do something to give a fair shot or to give a new opportunity or just to get fresh faces, which I can understand because what is WWE known for? Just the same matches over and over again. A lot lately. Did we have another title change? Whew! Man! Vince is going super crazy.
Is that the tweet that I saw there?
Yep. I thought it was for something else, and
yeah.
then now it's for a different thing. So we have that. And let's just go straight to WWE. Well, let's give it what we got. We're going to go with NXT, and then we'll end it with the main roster. So NXT is doing Halloween Havoc right now. There has not been one. There has not been two. But there has been 3 title changes. What we have is now we have new women's tag team champions with Toxic Attraction with Jacy Jayne and Gigi Dolan, who are part of the stable of Mandy Rose, winning the women's tag team champions from Io Shirai and Zoe Stark. Okay, that title has been hot potato around a lot, but whatever. Mandy Rose beat Raquel Gonzalez, for Raquel Gonzalez getting attacked by Dakota, I'm thinking Kota Ibushi, but Dakota Kai, her former friend who cost her out. So now you have a stable that has all the gold. Do I like it together? Kind of, because now you have a women's stable that has all the championships, and it just feels very rare in modern day wrestling. I don't think I've seen that in quite some time. So good for them. But I just don't know this, because I told you when Vince McMahon was interfering with NXT and now he changed to NXT 2.0, they were going to be in the red for a while. They were going to go from a show that I watched weekly to like a YouTube show. Because I know how this is. You just have to build it up again. You have to build it. It's just basically like replaying an old game, and you have to give it some time and then start. And you're not going to play New Game Plus where you have all these things. No, what are you going to do instead? You're going to kind of just go back at it cold and build up everything. So I get it. And then now the tag team titles,
type of thing,
Same old. Well,
Far Cry 6.
Here's the thing. Far Cry 6. With anything that's a New Game Plus, you're always given the same. You're always given the new capabilities and weaponry and stuff like that. So you don't have to upgrade anything. You're fully maxed out. But this is the equivalent of like, hey, when it comes to wrestling, you're just burning down the house. You're burning down the house. You're going to build off that platform. And now we just had MSK lose the tag team titles to Imperium. Why? One suspicion. A man named Walter, who is leader of Imperium. He just wrestles NXT UK, but since he lost his NXT UK title to, I forgot his name. Holy crap. Ilya Dragunov, the Tsar, maybe you're going to bring Walter over stateside to wrestle for the NXT title, full title, not the UK title, the full title. And that's why you're going to give stables power again. And I'll say it right now, match of the year so far, we're in October, end of October. Match of the year has been unequivocally Walter versus Ilya Dragunov. So get on that, kids. But that's the only reason why I could say it. But the women's division, the tag team division, the men's tag team division, there's some pain. There's a lot of pain going on there. So I'm hoping that they kind of get together and they fix it, because Charles has not been a happy camper with it. And then our main event, which doesn't feel like it's going to be a lot of time left, so I'm thinking it's going to be a complete squash, is going to be Braun Breaker, a.k.a. Bronson Rex Steiner, a.k.a. the son of Scotty Steiner and Rick Steiner. The Map is Hard promo that I send you guys all the time versus Tommaso Ciampa. And I feel like Ciampa's going to lose that belt. Now we fully have the new era that will be into it. Whatever happens to Ciampa happens to Ciampa. And then Bronson is going to be your new champion. Look at the man. He literally looks like a heavyweight, though. He looks like he can kill you. And his promo is great. You want a friend? Go get a dog. I'm like, I can respect that. And he's not even coming across as a heel. He's just coming off as, someone who's focused. I just hate the name Braun Breaker. But what can I do? Vince is stuck in the 80s. With 2Ks. Braun Breaker. You just can call him, because originally his name was supposed to be Rex Steiner, and it would have been perfect. Seriously. It's cheesy wrestling names, but it makes sense. You wouldn't put my name as a wrestling name. You would be calling Charles the Real. It wouldn't work, man. You have to make it simple. If you ever know the Trash Man, I just think of Danny DeVito.
Yeah, it's Always Sunny.
So simplicity is key at the end of the day. But here we be. And then main roster time. Basically, we had the season premieres of the show. Why? Because we had the WWE draft that came in. People got flipped over. We have Drew McIntyre on SmackDown. He'll probably beat Roman down the line. We have Goldberg beat Bobby Lashley. We'll talk about that in a second. But you have Brock Lesnar over still on SmackDown. All these crazy things. Last night's Raw was pretty decent. The main event was a fatal 4-way for a number one contendership match, a ladder match with Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens versus Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor, and to go against Big E for his WWE Championship. And Seth Rollins won. So this is how I'll split WWE for you. My brief review of Crown Jewel and then my hope for the future. Crown Jewel, Charles liked it. Charles may say it might have been the best main roster pay-per-view of the year, because I didn't think SummerSlam was that great. When WrestleMania is weird because since it's a two-nighter, I feel like it's kind of just evaluated in its own way each time. I can't give it an overall grade because you're not sitting there overall one time. You know what I mean? It's like literally saying, hey, Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 1, Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2, or Dune Part 1 and then Dune Part 2 that's been released. I saw Dune over the weekend. I'll tell you right now, I thought it sucked. That's me. I think people in love with Denis Villeneuve too much for his visual stunningness, and I felt like that movie was just shallow and heartless. But that's me. What can I say? Y'all have HBO Max. Go watch it. You can waste your 2 hours and 35 minutes just wondering what happened because it just caters to people who read the books. Anyway, I like Crown Jewel. I left you guys off on I think I left you off on the women's match when it started, but there were some highlights. I mean, Seth versus Edge was just a banger. Hell in a Cell was great. I like the women's triple threat match even to the end, but I thought the Rompers won. I did not like the King of the Ring match. I'm just saying it right now. I didn't think Wood, and I love Woods. Austin Creed, I love you. Follow us on Twitter, FJOJR. Dan Frijoles, it's Charles the True. But I mean, Finn has just kind of fell down unless they're really going to do something for Woods to kind of splinter from the New Day, not break out from the New Day, but kind of pursue his own singles thing and get something in the mid card. But I don't know if that was the right choice. And then the main event was good. I don't think Brock and Roman have excellent chemistry whatsoever, one-on-one against each other. But they made it work enough to where they left the door open for them to feud again. And then for Roman to still kind of continue as a champion, but also made Brock look like a legitimate threat. And then we talk about hopes of the future. I'm going to watch Raw regardless. You know, we know this. The last couple of weeks, I'm like, man, they made me keep watching it. But I'm going to watch Raw regardless on the basis that Monday Night Football is not always good. I didn't care about Monday Night Football over the week. You know what I mean? Like, I don't watch that crap. It's not good. Anytime you have a bad team. So I need something to do on Monday because for some reason when I come back from the gym, I cannot focus on really just playing a game because I'm too fried. But this is my mindset of what my hope for the future is. Because NXT, I'm going to let it slide a little bit. I'm going to neglect it, and I'll come back to it fully. But my hope for both Raw and SmackDown is this. Fix the tag team divisions, fix the women's divisions. I think you have some good talent already in the main event scenes for both SmackDown and Raw. And I think you have some help a little bit in the mid-card, though I think it's more of a question mark on Raw than it is on SmackDown. Because on SmackDown, you have Shinsuke, you'll have Cesaro, you'll have Sheamus, you'll have Baron, or Happy Corbin as he goes by now. You'll have even Woods in there to kind of establish the IC belt. With the U.S. title, I'm like, what do we do? They tried T-Bar, formerly known as Dominik Dijakovic, to go from there, so maybe go from that. But what are you going to build from it? So I have some questions there. But the tag teams, fix it. With the women's, fix it. How can you fix this? Unify that belt. Unify that title. And there was some drama between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, because you know how they resolved Francisco, the Raw Women's Champion getting drafted to SmackDown, SmackDown Women's Champion getting drafted to Raw? You would think they would abdicate the titles. That's what happens in boxing. You don't make the weight, you vacate your belts, right? Or UFC fighting.
Speaking of boxing,
they just did.
I watched a ton of Mike Tyson's old fights.
Oh man, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap.
Guy was a pure animal.
Yeah.
It was just so delicious.
Like I because like I'm starting to, because of you, I'm following a little more of these combat sports. Things where it kind of transitions a little from the hockey stuff, right? I'm like, let me learn about Mike Tyson. I love his cartoon show and all that stuff. Norm Macdonald, rest in peace, all that stuff. So I'm like, all right, let me really watch what Mike Tyson was like. Holy crap! My goodness gracious!
He was a beater, man. Like, and he was just not just strong. The man was fast, like unholy fast.
And
like,
of course,
possessed demon fast.
Yeah, and because this whole thing with like one of the Paul brothers gonna supposedly fight him, so there's that.
Go ahead. I wouldn't take a punch from 56-year-old Mike Tyson.
Have you seen? There's a video of Mike Tyson, maybe from a couple years ago now, where he's
training.
Yeah, he's just there hanging out with with some young.
Oh,
guys.
Ciampa retained.
So
Wow.
there's another live reaction right here. So,
I'm shocked. I thought I just literally gave you the whole thing. Like, all right, go from there. But it's fine because with all these changes, you need a face, and maybe Breaker wasn't ready yet, unless Ciampa cheated. Which I'm about that too. I'm about a face turning heel a little bit to save the title. You want to do everything you can do if you're pushed to a corner. But no, combat. Listen, like boxing, and we talked about it, and this is where I'll leave it on the cage because I've summarized everything. But I think this is what's equated. So boxing, wrestling, and to some degree, UFC fighting. UFC fighting can be very boring to me sometimes because of what they do. That's why you just watch the highlights. But boxing and wrestling, to me, are rewatchable years later, decades later. I have watched pay-per-views from wrestling from many years ago, and I have watched other boxing fights, even if it's just the highlights. But if it's, especially if they go to the distance, and it's not sloppy go to the distance, but it's just pure, unadulterated things, like, whoo, and then watch Evander and Mike. Don't even just watch the one where he, like, ripped the ear off.
Not the first one.
Watch Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah, watch Sugar Ray Leonard. Watch Jake LaMotta. They don't really have all those with him and Sugar Shane Robinson, but that's the whole point of what Raging Bull was about. It's just so good. Watch Mickey Ward on Tour Gotti. Guys just really like what makes great boxing, excellent boxing matches is not the knockouts. It's how focused each fighter is, where they're not slipping, man. They're on their game, and then someone's just got to win. Plain and simple. It is just chef's kiss, and you don't get that. And then the Fury Wilder fight, even though I don't pay for boxing, man. That's not me. My brother-in-law will pick it up, and every now and then if I'm around, I'll watch it. But even watching those highlights, I'm like, all right, we got something there. But boxing's been missing a lot. For a long time, it was dominated by welterweights and middleweights. That's what Canelo's known for. That's what until he retired, Pacquiao was known for. But nothing was going there. Part of it, the promotional politics. Part of it too has been the short attention span of viewers, and then casual people. That's why it's called the sweet science, because there is a science to it. Everybody used to crap on Floyd for never like trying to get hit, but why would you want to get hit? Like, if I was in the ring with Mike Tyson,
he was just playing the game.
Is to avoid getting hit. And there's some styles. It's just good stuff. It's just unfortunately we're not in the right generation.
It's like in Super Smash Bros. I'm 1-on-1 and somebody is clearly better than me. I will try, and let's say there's about a minute left, and I've basically found a way to survive. I will try and get that thing over into sudden death, because I know in sudden death, I can probably win. If I'm just careful enough, patient enough, and I can just knock them out. And that's basically how I would play. People are like, oh, that's a shitty way of playing Super Smash Bros. I'm like, yeah, but I won. I won. That was the main point of the whole thing, is I need to win. And so, yeah, people criticize Floyd for doing that, but he's just playing the game. Not doing, like, he's not bending the rules. He's just playing it as is,
Yeah, and like the whole purpose of boxing is what? Win and not have CTE.
Yeah. Oh, man. Is that it for the cage?
That's it for the cage. It was a quick cage.
All right. Okay, so that's it for us. One more time from House of Ashes, because why not? They've I guess this is some sort of collusion between them and Charles, because it's been all over us for this episode. So House of Ashes, go and play it. Published by Namco Bandai. Charles already endorses it, so it's good. It's out there. Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Go and have some nightmares if you feel like it. And that's it for us. Halloween this weekend. Be safe. Go trick or treating. Peg out on some candy, and have some fun. Right? Or watch some spooky stuff. Watch some movies. Check out Nexpo on YouTube.
Let's leave it on. Let me leave you on a question. What is the must-watch movie for you for Halloween? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be horror, but there's always something. For
Halloween?
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, I've seen Scream. Into that. Final Destination's not bad, but Final Destination, it doesn't seem like a horror movie to me. It's more of like a suspense type of thing.
It's a thriller, yeah.
Yeah, suspense type of thing. Psycho's pretty up there. Psycho's the reason everybody locks their doors when they go into the shower. So there's that. The Alfred Hitchcock type of stuff is pretty cool. And, oh man, what else is there? There's a lot. Video games, Eternal Darkness is pretty good. You want to play that? If you can find a copy. I already sold mine, but I already ripped it and put it on a hard drive, so I'm good to go with that. Always Resident Evil. There's always that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can go. You can go OG. I mean, God, man, you know how many machines out there play the original Resident Evil or a remake of that game? There's
I mean, you know where I'm at.
there's a DS version of the game. Come on now. Yeah, there's that. What else? There's a lot of Halloween stuff, man.
I will tell you, seminal ones I need. Both Adams families, Hocus Pocus, and Sleepy Hollow.
Adam's Family. That's right.
Adam's Family Values is a excellent partaking of how you should do Halloween. I don't care for scary movies. Like, I'm not scared of them. They're so stupid. There's literally some of them just plain out stupid. And you want to watch horrors and kills, I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. But they're just not good. And sometimes 30 years later, they don't hold up. Even though I have some reference and things, but I'm not in level with the way some people are. But Halloween comedies, you have my attention. Plus, I just love Hocus Pocus, so you can get behind that too.
Yeah. There's somebody that made like a kids or like children's Halloween movie tier list. It wasn't. It was. I gotta send that to you. I don't know how many of them you actually saw. As eventually they cross over to the point where we're not kids anymore and you're not really watching them. So there's several there. Or you can kind of get into the whole aspect of like dressing up. You can watch like a 90s I don't know, Ninja Turtles. Watch the original Ninja Turtles movie.
Well,
The
what I
1991.
love to do is watch
With the best costumes, by the way. That was the best of the costumes because after that they just got worse each movie. Have you noticed
the
that?
third one's the worst one. The third one has the worst.
Oh no, the third one is by far the worst one. The third one is by far the worst one. The second one was okay, fine. It was you could, I don't know why, but the original ones, I don't know, maybe they got too sweaty and they couldn't use them anymore. I'm not sure. You know,
Probably different puppeteers too, not Jim Henson.
and this,
But I will say this: episodes of TV shows are theme based for holidays are fun too if they have long consistency. Like I watch like the Bob's Burgers consistent ones.
Oh yeah, those are really good.
And then this is the ritual. I don't know how we're going on this tangent, but it's fun for me, so I'm going to share it to you guys a month and a half earlier than I would have. But I have a typical Christmas annual thing that I do where, and this is the days where I would have my drinks and whatnot. But Comedy Central will have the Office marathon of just all the Christmas episodes. So you would watch those episodes and you just take a shot every time Michael does something awkward in those Halloween episodes or the Christmas episodes. And by the second Christmas episode,
You're gone.
which is Benihana's Christmas, you don't survive. You don't survive. The minute he marks the woman with the marker, you're on the ground. Like, you don't make it. But it is the ultimate test. And also, you can always watch Letterkenny's Christmas episode. They also have an excellent Halloween episode that I just thought about now, and I'm going to watch it later. Yes! That's all I got for you.
Oh man. Oh, now I'm harping on the second Ninja Turtles movie because the Super Shredder he killed himself. That was
Super Shredder is Kevin Nash, sir. That's fun facts of how wrestling's all connected.
Really didn't. Okay.
So you have but listen, Secret of the Ooze is fantastic because you have.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the Super Shredder. He played himself.
Yeah, because he was just angry with rage. He just couldn't deal with the fact that amphibians keep beating him all the time, and they're teenagers. So that's what angers him even more so. But really, all he had to do was just throw like a can of Coke at them. It would have killed them. But Shredder's closed-minded. Here's a 12-pack.
Have you played Injustice 2?
Oh yeah, I have that. And
You got the DLC? Okay.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
You know it. I'm gonna buy Shredder's Revenge when it comes out.
I mean, I like how the Warner Brothers games between Mortal Kombat and Injustice have kind of got like just aside from Fortnite and Super Smash Brothers, is kind of like a cross, like one of the better crossovers that you see out there, And you as a comic book aficionado appreciate that for sure.
Oh hell yeah!
Because you got the Ninja Turtles who were originally comic book characters. A lot of people don't know that. People think it was the cartoon show. No, they were comic book characters, and the comic books were actually pretty violent.
I follow Kevin Eastman on Twitter, man.
Yeah,
you always have to give reverence to the OG.
Yeah, and then of course the cartoon and all that stuff, and then the first movie, which was fantastic. Then parents complained. That's why the second movie isn't like they don't use their weapons as much or at all. I think
They don't. Yeah.
in that one. But regardless, still a good, fun movie, and then a third one, and and then it goes from there. And then they got, of course, all the DC characters, and all that stuff in there as well. Then you got Mortal Kombat. They got you have all the movie guys. You got RoboCop. You got Terminator. You got Rambo. Yeah, those three.
He's
Right.
in there.
Yeah, you got Spawn. He's in that game. Joker's in there. So they're really hitting out of the park with that. And I've been watching. The reason I'm this came to my mind, and it's Halloween based, right? We're talking about these characters, people dressed up as them, and I was watching like all the intros and stuff, and the references that the characters make along, like when they're about to enter a fight and stuff like that, or when they win the fight, and the references like those people did their homework.
Their research. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, the minute they had the Ninja Turtles coming in with the fedora and then the overcoat, I was like, I'm sold.
Oh no.
That's literally because that's one of my favorite scenes of the first one when
Yeah,
Raph
with
and
Raph.
Casey Jones go out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was like just the reveal of them, and I was like, oh my god, that's great. It's fantastic. Okay, all right, so that's the end of this episode. So we'll see you guys next week. All right, Have a
Take
good night.
care.